going down controversy, and I would not stop referring to it as licking muffin tops.
Hey,
that's fine. That's fine.
We know.
We got deep into it last week, Carlos, and it was hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, the back going down on the cat. Yeah, we even had to stop it from Travis over that.
No, yeah, I broke out a mile because I would not stop calling it licking muffin tops.
And best of all, Sun brought up her scene with George in Bat Radio.
Oh boy. Rest in peace, George.
Oh, which I still can't believe he is rolling in his grave that he didn't get the opportunity to riff on that on Bat Radio.
Of course.
It's like, that's perfect. We did the show exactly for this.
Of course, he's rolling the other way because Carlos is always like, "Damn you, George, you were right."
This is great. All right, we're ready to go, Ross.
Yes, we are.
End. Good on social. All right, let's.
I should probably bring up Twitch and get the title right.
Yes, that probably might be a good idea. We'll get your title right, and we'll roll the intro. Or they'll roll the pre-show deal. Thing of a bobber. Credits. I've been waiting for Carlos to see for 3 weeks. Pedraza. Yeah, we figured, might as well just start the show since we usually have conversations that run 15 minutes into showtime.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Let's go.
Loki, The Bad Batch, and Brady Bunch Drag. All of this and more tonight on The Real SuperGeeks.
That's the old showtime, but there we go.
There we go.
It works once in a while. If I do it every time, it loses efficacy. Like jokes.
Hey now.
Welcome to the Real Super Geeks podcast on this, the 25th of June, 2021. My name is Ross, also known as Live, Love, Play, and you are watching us live on YouTube at the Real Super Geeks. If you are watching there, be sure to give us a like, subscribe so you catch every episode when we go live, and of course, watch it afterwards. We're also live on Facebook in the Real Super Geeks group and on Twitch right down below at twitch.tv/live_love_play. Thank you for joining us tonight, and bring back the host, Justin. We are joined once again by the our missing host. He's been gone forever. He's back. He's been freed from the dungeon.
Carlos Pedraza.
My host
is Mr. Axomonitor himself.
Pedraza. Well, thank you. It's good to be back. I missed you guys, and I'm glad that I sorted out all the stuff I needed to sort out, and I'm back here with you guys. In honor of being back, I'm wearing my Choo 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 shirt. So great, and it's great, particularly to see each and every one of you, but especially Lane.
Yes,
number one Lane fan right there. Also joining us, our newest host, the lovely, the wonderful, the ever positive Raina. How are you doing tonight?
I'm having a good day today. I had kind of a crazy earlier week, but everything always seems to start really bad on Monday and then just progressively get better. So I'm always happy to be here with you guys. Streamed a little bit with Travis some Halo, and of course that was chaotic fun. So I'm glad to be back every Friday. This is what I look forward to.
Isn't that a D&D alignment? Chaotic fun.
Chaotic fun.
Yes.
I was you beat me to it, Carlos.
Damn, Carlos is on point tonight too. Damn.
I've been getting ready for you guys.
Awesome. All right, he
I
may
think
be
he's not
without
been
that sense
playing
of
video
good taste,
games.
but he is always here with a good sense of humor. Greg, how you doing tonight?
I've got a great sense of taste. Thanks, Ross.
Love you,
Except
man.
when it comes to Nintendo Switch cartridges. Here we go.
Doing good. Had a good week. Been streaming some Call of Duty, making people cry, but it's always been fun. And referring back to Raina, watching them play Halo is chaotic fun.
All right, and speaking of chaotic fun, it is the man, it is the neckline, and his trusty companion Lane. Travis, how you doing tonight?
There's a lot of thought going into this reply.
Love stinks.
Woo!
Yeah.
Break out the fireball.
I can't drink Fireball. I'm on antidepressants. It's been
Angry tea.
it's been a rough week. Yeah, there's some things. There's definitely some shit going on right now. But I'm happy that I am surrounded by friends. I am happy that people care, and I'm, one way or another, gonna get through it. And yeah, I got plenty of new fidget toys. Plenty of
I'm entranced by that new one.
It's smaller than I thought it would be.
That's what she
What
said.
is it?
That's what she said.
It's basically
That's
it's a little it's a stand, and it has like a little.
It's an executive fidget spinner, is what it is.
Well, it's
Excellent.
Lane. Well, it's just perfectly Lane size. So there you go.
I've got like a whole bunch of shit here. I've got a new one of these, and I also got these
Travis,
little palm balls.
I like I said on one of your posts, you are loved and appreciated by just your being you. And what I didn't add is, if you need someone who can literally torture with kindness, just give me a call.
I'll keep it in mind.
Romantic love
Yeah.
might stinks, but the love of friends is here, and it's an abundance for you, my friend.
Always, and we're here. We're just a text or a phone call or a surgical scalpel away.
That's good to know.
All right, sappy shit out of the way. His timing might be terrible, but his production is on point. Justin, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing pretty good. I finally got home services all started, so they're going to be getting my legs to getting me on pain medication, so I'm going to be stopping less of a little bit of a grump and back to my be cheerful self. Yay. Other than that, yeah, things are finally moving along after a month and a half of red tape, and I did thanks to COVID relief bill, I get free internet for a while, so yay.
Outstanding.
Wait, Justin, you've been a grump?
That expression says it all.
Come on. And finally, last but certainly not least, we are all eager to see, son, where are you this week?
Well, first I'd like to say, Justin, you really got to change the title, because like every week it's been me playing video games.
I know. Next week, I promise.
But to be fair, your title is kind of apt this week, because I'm not quite on Earth, but I am world dominating. You have to big me up, Justin. You have to give me that. There you go. I'm playing Surviving Mars. So yeah, I just decided I'd show you guys Surviving Mars, which is like a kind of real-time-ish strategy game / city building sim thing.
Very cool.
Yeah, I wind up just choosing a logo and random effects. So yeah, just hit start and go.
All
I
right.
actually have that game on.
Isn't it dangerous for Zor to be on Mars? I'm just saying.
Not quite. I mean, all of this is being done for mission control remotely, so
Hey.
I'm technically on Earth and dominating Mars because I'm an evil villain like that.
You're my favorite evil villain, son.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I enjoy combating with you too. You gooder.
All right. And as a final reminder before we get into the topics this week, if you are watching on Twitch, channel redeems are active. So if you want to compel me and if anyone else wants to play along, those are active. Watch, accrue points, redeem them, make us do fun stuff at our own expense.
You know what?
I don't know what any of that means, but I do like being compelled. So have at it.
I hope you all have water ready because hydrate is the cheapest one. All right. And there goes Travis with the hydrate.
So since we're now in summertime, Travis, are you going to be doing evil iced tea drinking?
I've got hot tea right now. I've got hot tea.
Evil hot tea drinking? Okay.
I would love to do iced tea one of these nights, but ice in this house is surprisingly scarce because our ice trays are shit and our we don't have like a self-making one, and so it's just one of those like
yeah, it's the same in my house. Yeah. It's a precious commodity.
Yeah, same here.
All right, we're into our topics for the week. We're going to jump ahead one of our Star Trek topics this week because it is a rather significant one. Sadly, Joanne Linville, the actress who played the Romulan commander in the Enterprise incident, has passed away this week at the age of
93.
93. Wow. A very long and quite fulfilling and storied life and career. We all know her, of course, as the Romulan commander, but she filled in many roles over the years across many different shows. My most memorable of her outside of Star Trek was her appearance in The Twilight Zone, where she played a survivor, a lost soul, as the casualties of the Civil War began proceeding in front of her. It was such a incredibly emotional episode, and she played it very well. What about you guys? Do you have any memories or favorite roles of Miss Linville?
I mean, obviously, my main connection with her was through the Enterprise incident, which is one of the better original series episodes out there, and probably one of the few gleaming saving graces of that awful third season. It was really like there was really like this was a role I wish we could have seen more of. I'm actually very sad that we don't have an actual name for this character because she had that good of a presence on screen. And like her chemistry with Spock in this hour of Star Trek was really, really well done, well portrayed, and intriguing. I mean, like, yeah, it wasn't like super steamy or super like compelling or like, you know, dramatic head turns or anything, but like the way that they set it apart from like, you know, the typical Kirk meets pretty lady of the week with Spock in this 1 hour, I thought was actually really, really unique and very like just a refreshing for, you know, a show that had only been on for a little over 2 years at that point. And so like the fact that she is remembered so fondly in this one role, like, what can I say? It's like she lived a full life, and it's a shame.
In Diane Duane's Rihansu series, she was given the name Liviana Charvanek.
You know, you guys always tell me that like external lore doesn't count.
It counts.
I've never said
it just
that.
Doesn't count.
I don't think
it's just not canon.
And there it is.
It's beta canon. It's beta canon.
I call it soft.
Sure, we can call it that.
Yeah, beta canon. The books
I
are
call it
beta
soft.
canon. But there's also apparently
all the
she's
stuff
got
that all the stuff that CBS does is the primary deflector, and all this stuff is the secondary deflector. Okay.
There you go. Except for the
It
Shatner.
fills in the gaps when we have them.
Except for the Shatnerverse, we just ignore that.
Yeah, we do ignore
altogether.
that. Yeah, that.
We just ignore that. That's its own thing. We don't count that at all. That's fanboy universe.
You know, I recently saw an old episode of The Invaders. I don't know if you guys know that series from the 60s. It was about they had this cool flying saucer that you always saw at the beginning, and it was about these aliens who'd come to Earth and were disguised as humans who were slowly working to take over everything. And she played the wife of one of the humans who'd been replaced by one of the aliens. Anyway, she was really good in it, and I just happened to come across it in what's the name of that network? The one that with all the commercials that drives me crazy.
Pluto?
Yeah, Pluto. Yes, my dear and gracious friend David O'Neill, who's so fat, actually was the one who I was visiting him, and he likes to watch old series on Pluto, and she happened to pop up on that, and I'm like, look, it's the Romulan commander, and she was pretty good in it. She played someone who was going a little crazy because of it, and it was another great series appearance she made. I think she appeared twice on that show, two different roles, but that was one of them.
So you went and visited David O'Neill. Did you go to any buffets?
No buffets, but we did go to one of those places that, well, they had big portions. So, and he ate like a pig.
I heard you also went
I'm
and
not
visited Joe Diaz too.
I did visit Joe. He took me out for that. Longtime viewers of this show may recall that over a year ago when Tiger King came out, and I decried it because it looked like white trash, hot mess, which it is. And
Not
Joe
watching
said that if I watched the first episode, he would treat me to a steak dinner. So I finally claimed the steak dinner. But because it had been so long since I'd watched it and I had to watch it a second time to remember everything. So I actually watched it twice, Joe. But it was a great steak dinner. It was at this Mexican place north of San Diego, and it was great to see Joe again.
Wait! Back up. Rewind the tape just a little bit. You had a steak dinner at a Mexican restaurant.
Yes, carne asada. It's a thing.
It is.
It is, but carne asada is, yeah.
But you don't go to a Mexican restaurant for a steak dinner. You go to a Mexican restaurant for Mexican dinner.
Well, Mexicans eat steak too.
Not the kind of steak.
Okay. Plus, also recall the last names of the people involved here: Pedraza and Diaz.
Well, that makes it even more racist.
It makes it even better. It was
That's
great.
like going to a
Even though
Chinese restaurant and getting chicken nuggets.
These
But it's like-
episodes, isn't it?
This is American cultural appropriation.
No, it's not. Mexicans have steak,
Complaint email.
It is.
and it's
It is.
really good.
Yeah, steak tacos at Taco Bell.
Back to the topic.
Yes, back to the
at
topic at hand. Carry on.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I look at it as I'm looking at the actual Reddit right now, and she was really loved, and I think that that's going to solidify her place in the history books forever. That, you know, when you have memorable roles like that, when you're that good as an actress, where it's like people remember you fondly like that, I think that makes you immortal. And this really shows she was loved, and I think that's the best way to go out, to know that you are loved and admired.
There's a photo that was going around of her. I don't know which convention it was. I think it was at the last STLV, and her daughter was apparently cosplaying as her.
That's awesome.
More than
People thought it
cosplaying,
was her.
she actually appeared playing her role in the Star Trek Continues two-part finale.
That's
That's
I
cool.
remember that at that same place, they actually thought her daughter was her. People were like, wait, you have.
She looks exactly the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember that now.
it was great.
Awesome.
You guys should check out guys should check out the that Star Trek Continues finale again, and she's really great in it. She's spitting image.
Very cool. All right, anybody else? All right.
Rest in peace,
Well,
Bill.
Amen.
Yes, indeed. All right. Moving on to our first review of the night, Loki,
And
episode 3.
I have
Oh,
not seen
one moment.
this episode.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
I have not seen this episode, so I'm going to take my headphones out.
Okay, we'll wave at Lane when the time comes to.
And, Ross, did you stretch?
Oh, I got stretched. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Good.
Hold on.
Stretch.
Well,
Arm
let's
circles.
get it
There we go. And back.
Come on.
All right, stretch the hands. Up we go. Down. Up. And down. Okay.
All right.
All right, and
We do stretch and flex every morning at my new job, so I've got a whole bunch in my repertoire now.
That's very cool for a workplace.
Yeah, keeps us limber, prevents injuries, and a lot of people just look bored and go through the motions.
And when you retire, you can work at a Chippendales.
I need to get some abs first. It's all flexibility. No,
You don't have to have abs.
I'll be the dad bod guy. There we go.
Ross's hammer is a real thing.
You'll literally be the zombie at the Chippendales. It's all about the eyebrows, baby.
hi, make it like a.
So, Loki. We've been all over the place so far with this show. Carlos, have you been keeping up on it?
I have.
Cool.
And
What is your impression of the first 2 episodes?
Okay, so I really love them. I really love the way they're sort of extending the Marvel universe in some directions it hasn't really gone in before, and in a way that's actually a little provocative because it makes you sort of rethink stuff you've seen before, the whole timeline thing and how that affects everything we saw in Infinity War and Endgame, and what the role of all that is, what it has to say about we're planning on hoping to see in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. All of that is gonna. It looks like it's gonna link together in some very interesting ways. I love the fact that this is not actually the Loki that we last saw. It's kind of a Loki before, and as it turns out, we see many Lokis before, which is an intriguing concept. They raise some really great questions universe-wise that I'm hoping they see through to giving some good answers to.
Awesome. And the results of the second episode?
You mean She-Loki? Sylvie?
Yeah. And her bombing of the sacred timeline.
Yes. I thought that was great. Frankly, one of the things of all the Marvel series we've seen so far, this one has gotten down to business way sooner. Like episode 2, bam! It's it literally blows shit up. And I like that. I like seeing a story that is still deep and resonant, but is moving along. So yeah, I love that. She, as it turns out, as we see in episode 3, has a very interesting backstory herself, which I'm very excited to find out more about.
Yeah, I think we all agreed on that one, but we were all pretty happy that it's actually cut the damn chase change with this one.
I mean, like I said last week, we all knew that the sacred timeline probably wasn't going to last by the end of the season. We didn't expect it to get annihilated and bombed at the end of the second. Yep. All right, so at the beginning of this episode, we pick up right where we left off. We got Loki chasing Loki back into the TVA. She realizes her magic doesn't work, but she's still really good with weapons. Loki catches up with her. They tussle. They get trapped in a doomsday pocket, and have to figure each other out, how to survive, how to charge the Tempad, and how to get out of the apocalypse before it actually happens.
Right.
So that's the basics of the episode. What were your impressions? Let's start with Greg.
Overall, I liked it. It it was like one of my favorite parts was her realizing she can't use her powers. So it was like, what can she do without them? Clearly can hold her own. The impressions were these two are going to make a very interesting team because the second they get to the city, they both realize they have to trust each other. It's like, we have to trust each other. Here's what we're gonna do. I kind of knew they weren't going to get either they weren't going to get to the ship or the ship was going to be destroyed. So of course that leaves them high and dry.
That was so predictable.
It was it was a little too predictable for the whole timeline collapsing. That was predictable, but it was a real great dynamic to see them sit at the table. The best dynamic of the show was them sitting at the table talking about how they were raised. She had a very loving and caring family. She was accepted. Life was essentially good for her. And Loki, our Loki, is sitting there like, no, they didn't tell me I was adopted. They, shunned me. They did this. So it was really kind of, a hardcore thing. And this is for what I saw explode was for the LGBT community was Loki sat there. And I love the way they did this, very nonchalant. Oh, I bet it was a lot of princesses or a prince for you. He goes, no, not really. And then just immediately did it that way. I think was really great.
It was a little bit of both.
Exactly. And that Loki sat there is like, yeah, I'm bisexual. And they handled it extremely well in that case. So that what is a touchy subject for people who can't accept it, they handle that beautifully. With Loki sitting like, yeah, there's been some flings. But it was a good episode.
I'm a little disappointed they didn't include Loki say, well, no, never. But, there was this horse.
Oh,
No, Loki, son, if this is yours, go for it.
They did do that.
They did?
I was watching, on the Geekies last night. Adam Maya and them were talking about this. They literally had a throwaway line between the two of them that literally confirms, no, yeah, I was a female horse once and birthed, slept near the 8-legged horse.
I missed that line.
I missed it too. I guess they edited it out later, maybe.
But yeah. But yeah, no, it was in there. I was like, finally!
Right.
I've been talking about this shit for weeks.
And this is jumping up, but just a little quick one. Just the promo leading the episode for a child Loki now. See what happens.
Oh God, no good can come from this.
Raina, how about you? What did you think of the episode?
This was my favorite one of the first three, because I know I told you guys, I was like, this is kind of slow for me in the beginning. Like, it's interesting, but it's slow. But this one was like, yeah, you know what? This is where slow fits to me. I like Sylvie a lot. Like, I was really worried because I was, I kept seeing people were like, I don't really buy this dynamic on the internet. And it's like, of course it's the internet. Why am I believing these people? But I came in and I absolutely loved them as a pair, just working together. The dynamic seems like they're always waiting for the backstab each other. I thought the scene with the old woman with the power shotgun was one of the greatest things ever, because we always joke about that, with Borderlands, and everything makes that joke. But my favorite thing, I'm with Greg on that. I love the whole discussion at that table sold it for me. Like, subtle is good. I don't like when things are used as a, when they use LGBTQ, I understand what people are saying with the throw it in your face kind of stuff, because when they use it for a marketing purpose, but here it's so subtle that it fits naturally into the conversation. Yes. And I love it. And the other thing that I really enjoyed was the last scramble to the arc. The CGI was gorgeous for that. It was a fantastic fighting, hiding, continued to run, fighting, hiding, and it seemed all natural and dynamic. I was really lost in it.
The choreography was really good.
And also, I need to say, shout out to my mom, who's 2 for 2 on predictions, because she predicted the big twist of the show that the TVA are all variants.
That was a huge twist right there.
Yeah, that was...
Not even Loki figured that out.
The TVA is just getting more and more shady the more we learn about it.
And it looks
how funny would it be if Mobius is actually a variant of the actor that's playing him?
Oh my God, that would be really great.
They made
Owen Wilson variant.
If they don't end the show with a wow, I'm going to be really disappointed.
The producer said we aren't getting a wow.
Two things the director. The
0 out of
director
10.
did say the director did say in all 6 episodes she is sad to say Owen Wilson will not say his trademark wow.
Yeah, right.
The second part was touching what Ross said, Owen Wilson be a variant. I'm guessing with his love of jet skis and the things he likes, he's a variant from the 90s. He's got to be like some surfer dude or something.
Do a Point Break joke.
I was about to say. Justin, how about you?
I loved how the episode flowed. Like Brandon said, the CGI was fucking awesome. Some of the best. Looks like they're using the same thing the Mandalorian was using when it comes to their compositioning. So I'm happy to see this the new normal when it comes to this, because usually with the special effect, it's very easily spottable. But I mean, this looked very well done. I mean, it's just phenomenal what they were able to accomplish. The action, it just went right to the point. There was hardly any slow parts of the episode. So, I mean, I'm really digging the pace. It really looks like next week things are going to kind of heat up. We might get to see the TVA for the true colors here. One of the predictions last week was it seems like this is the actual war that created the sacred timeline.
Interesting.
And this is the actual event that could actually create the sacred timeline, along with the leaning into Doctor Strange's multi-universe of madness. I mean, it would make sense.
You know, I'm kind of wondering if the timekeepers themselves are variants. Like, that would be such an interesting twist that they're variants that probably were involved in the same thing and realized the fluidity of time and how it works, and then just decided, yeah, we're gonna run this thing. We're gonna, that would be kind of an interesting twist. I'll be honest.
Variants of a variant.
Yeah.
Son, how about you?
I still haven't watched a single episode yet, so
I keep forgetting that. Carlos, how about you?
I thought it was a really strong episode, and I was really surprised to see that a lot of people were comparing it. Well, I wasn't surprised that they're comparing it to Doctor Who, because of the time travel and stuff. But it's kind of like, duh. I mean, like, Doctor Who didn't invent time travel. Time travel's everywhere. Everyone does it. And the whole idea of people journeying through time on some sort of mission or something is also, I mean, it's pretty much a stock sci-fi trope. So for me, people are saying, oh, it's just Doctor Who with a budget. That didn't really work for me. I mean, the best parts of Doctor Who, sure. I mean, that there are stakes, there are big stakes that each of the characters have. I think that's one of the real strengths of modern Doctor Who, anyway. But
of course, Carlos would mention steak.
You're a sharp one. You're a sharp one.
Son, of course.
Yeah.
I was going to say, with this, though, it seems like the stakes are much higher than anything in Doctor Who. Like, this is like a convergence of so many timelines that not even in comparison.
Well, I think it's the definition of chaotic fun, honestly.
That's
what I love about this show. It's chaotic.
Or shall we say mischief?
Well, one could.
Good.
The other thing, a couple of the details that I liked is we actually fucking got to see Loki do magic, magic, and a lot. It was so sparing. It's like at one point I remember
both of them.
Yeah, both of them. I mean, there was some at one point during one of the Thor movies where I'm like, is he ever going to do any actual magic? Any?
He was rich.
Yeah, exactly.
That was in the budget.
Carlos, he Kameha'd someone. And that last fight, I was like, holy cow, I didn't even know he could do that.
Yeah, I read a whole article about what kind of magic he has and trying to compare it between what he does in the comics and what he's doing on the show. And, one writer even went so far as to say, we don't think he's really that magical. But I was glad to see he was, and he did some cool magic. And it wasn't even really big. It wasn't really big magic, but it was just off the cuff, and it worked, and it was still powerful, and I liked the little green glow, and I loved the fireworks that they introduced the fireworks, and then they used them again later. It was great.
I have a George prediction.
Uh-oh.
No, here's a George theory for you.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Were Loki or
Sylvie?
Sylvie under enchantment from each other?
God damn it, Ross! God damn it, Ross! You stole my idea. Look, okay.
I actually saw it in the breakdown.
My theory is that that Loki Prime has enchanted Sylvie, showing that he actually broke the remote. When he didn't, the remote's fine, but he's just biding time to try to get into her head to get her on his side.
Well,
Yeah, but he also destroyed their only way of getting out of there.
No,
Loki wouldn't need to enchant her for that. He's an illusionist.
Yeah,
he could have just conjured a broken one.
Right, but
That's true.
they're both in each other's head. Because they touch each other's heads here right at the start. They would both be under the
Don't,
If I may,
don't
not
say it that way. Don't
Loki-
say it that way, Justin. That's not pretty. Don't say it that way.
Okay, so this is Super Geeks. Most everything in this we say is not pretty.
Yeah, but not
But
they
we-
touched each other's
considering
heads.
we were
That's
just-
not pretty.
We were considering we were
I
just
guess
making
it
a
depends on
sexual
your-
innuendo out of steak a minute ago. And
I don't know.
unfortunately, Travis is not listening because then we can't.
All
even
right,
stop
how
it for
about the ending? They're fighting through the city. They're working together. They're fighting like a team, only to see a debris crash through the ark and completely obliterate it.
I mean, we all
Where
knew
they-
that would
He
happen.
just stands there in bewilderment, and CV just walks away.
We all
Sylvie
knew
just
what was
walks
going to
away.
happen. We all knew it was going to
Okay,
happen.
the Lokis didn't know that was going to happen. They thought they were going to make it. That was, if I'm from the standpoint of being Loki, if you will, that was like crap. Like we're screwed. I'm kind of on the point that Loki is enchanting Sylvie because depending on how she was raised, she's not showing the same type of magic our Loki is using. He's very clearly able to do the illusionary stuff that she can't. He has a temp pad and bam, makes it disappear. She's like, how the hell did you do that? And then of course she can do things he can't. So it's going to be very interesting. And like Carla said, when they touch each other, maybe they're enchanted in themselves. But my guess would be that Sylvie probably enchanted Loki to a degree, since he's never really shown to be like enchant someone, but surely enough mess with them as far as his illusions.
So you bring up an interesting point, Craig, because if you remember, like from the other Thor movies, like Odin was this megalomaniac type dude.
Yes.
So what if he actually raised Loki the way he did to be that illusionist to hide Asgard at some point?
I mean, what Frigga taught him as far as magic and Odin raising the White Way, I wouldn't say that's out of reach.
Because like, if like the interesting thing is like that would have if Loki hadn't been continuously rebelling against Odin because of how he was treated, it would stand to reason that Loki would probably have constantly hidden Asgard from like that lady who shows up in the third movie to cause Ragnarok.
Hella.
Yeah.
She's a hell of a lady.
She's looking for Asgard,
I actually have a theory. Like I'm I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Huh?
Speaking of Thor 3, just a brief aside relating to something I saw earlier this week. At the end of Thor 2, with Loki on the throne, it looks like he's about to rule the fucking universe.
Oh, this part.
And then at the opening of Thor 3, he's lounging and he's laying on a chaise lounge, eating grapes, and watching his a self-indulgent biography play that he wrote.
I saw that same kind of thing. It was great. You expect him to rule the universe. He's just kicking back.
All right,
All
sorry
right.
to derail. Please continue.
Raina, you're going to say something?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, you know what my theory is in this show? I'm gonna call it right now, and this may be considered a George theory.
Trying to top your mom.
I think, yeah, I'm trying to outplay her because she's already 2 for 2. I got to beat her on this one. I wonder if Sylvie and that judge are in cahoots. I'm just saying. I wonder if they're in cahoots. You know, the judge.
Yeah.
I wonder
Mobius
if the
the boss.
judge, or she's indirectly leading her to the timekeepers because she knows she's a variant. That she's one of the few TVA people that know. She handles all
would.
them files and records and everything else. She would probably be the one to find out.
Yeah, she would.
She's also got a lot of real world artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
A second George theory that ties into the first one: the temp pad isn't dead.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
When Loki is involved, you can't believe anything you see.
That's what I was saying. I was like, he's probably got the damn thing hidden and just made an illusion that it was broke or made an illusion that it was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So
He
you can
needs
get it
her.
in her head.
They both have a mutual interest if that temp pad is still alive as well, because she knows how to access the timekeepers now. So he kind of needs her for that. So,
I really hope our Loki is the good guy in this one.
oh, me too.
I hope they both turn out to be good, and they're both just going after the timekeepers. They need to become a male-female Loki duel that take over the universe.
Loki and
fun.
Sylvie. She's not Loki.
That's right.
She's a Loki variant, but her name is Sylvie.
Yes.
You
Don't
guys
call me
proceed.
Loki.
She's a melding of Sylvie, Loki, and the Enchantress all at the same time.
Do you guys think we're going to get cameos?
I don't know. I'm not really good with pins, so
I'd like
I
to see an
don't know.
Otherworld Heimdall.
I don't know. We
got a few low level cameos and supporting characters in WandaVision. We got a few good cameos in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I bet we're going to see something along the same lines.
I mean, technically,
Maybe
we
we'll
kinda
get
already did
Doctor Strange.
I don't think it'll be any of the majors.
Mm-mm.
we kind of already got Peggy and Agatha. Strange would again make. I believe he should have been in WandaVision.
Conversation, but Carlos licking a lollipop is just wholesome.
It's a Tootsie Pop.
I
How
don't
many-
know what you guys are talking about, but just seeing him lick a lollipop. I'm sorry if I interrupted somebody. I have a feeling I did that, but still.
It's time to petition to get Carlos as a cameo just in the background
I mean,
of one of these destructive scenes in the apocalypses. And just him sucking on the Tootsie Pop.
look, I'm sorry, but every time I see Carlos with a lollipop, I think it's training.
Well, and now he's going to be super
Carlos got
self-conscious
it.
about it. Thank you, guys. All right. Final final
Carlos.
thoughts and predictions.
I'll go first.
Rain it. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Sorry. Final thoughts, predictions. Kid Loki that we see. Okay, there was a promo. So those who didn't see, of course, for every episode they did a little 30-second promo. There's a Kid Loki. They're back at the TVA. All three of them in handcuffs, and Mobius is sitting there, so they clearly get captured. I don't know. Loki, our Loki. I'm gonna have to say that our Loki Prime. There we go. He's gonna have his arc where he's the good guy, but I think Sylvie's gonna be right there with him, and maybe not get to the head of the TVA, but they're gonna end up spilling the beans, telling Mobius, all of them, that hey, you're all variants, by the way, and then that's how they're gonna blow the timeline. It's like all of the agents, you're all variants, and then see what happens.
Yeah, I think
All right,
that
very cool.
I think something like that definitely will happen.
And it'll be a citywide thing.
I believe that that's what Sylvie's purpose is going to be with that whole discussion of getting in people's minds and what it takes to get into people's minds, where it's like a conversation for stronger minds.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to have to be her getting. I think our Loki Prime is going to get into some kind of trouble. Sylvie is going to have some kind of change of heart and try to help him, and is going to need Mobius's help. And I think that she's going to insert that truth in his head, like show him, like, hey, you're just a variant like I am. And I think that that's what's going to end up happening, is that because her power is specifically made for that. So I think that she's going to be the catalyst.
Well, I'm reading through some of the comments, and David Murphy makes the point that he believes Mobius is the only good guy in the TVA, a point I agree with. I think that's true. And I'm not sure about the whole setting up the X-Men in the MCU. I don't see that happening out of Loki, but with regards to where I think we're going to go next, my feeling is that they've done something to the timeline they're in currently that that does alert the TVA, and they swoop in at the last minute and capture them. That's what I think is going to happen.
The first episode, that one kid that we saw in the waiting room that got disintegrated was from the MCU. So, he was in one of the Deadpool movies.
Deadpool, really?
I think so. He was a big kid in Deadpool.
Okay.
Can I bring something up, guys, real quick before I forget? I wonder, since Shang-Chi is coming out after the show finishes, I wonder if the inclusion of Abomination can also have something to do with that in the trailer. I'm just saying.
Oh,
and not to mention, we're talking about other villains that are coming to the Spider-Man series from previous the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield thing. I think that's what this Loki show is setting up, is that it opens the door for any possible character to return or have a new face in this universe. And I think that's awesome because Marvel's opened the door to insanity.
Well, keep in mind, we had the same expectations for WandaVision.
Yes.
And they set their sights a little lower than that.
They used those expectations with key casting choices and kind of did something different.
Yeah, so don't get your hopes up that's what they're going to be doing on this one. And who has TV on?
It's a good theory, but we've had those expectations. Justin, I believe you're next.
Yes, I'm trying to think. I got distracted. What was
prediction?
Final thoughts and predictions.
Prediction. Like I said, the data pad's intact. Loki's trying to get the other Loki to trust him, and she's trying to get the other Loki to trust her. And once they figure out they can trust each other and they're on the same side, the pad will magically reappear. It's like, and they will wind up back at the TVA where they expose the truth about everybody being a variant. Loki still ends up getting thrown in jail. Sylvia convinces Mobius to get him out, and they all turn around and go see the timekeepers. And it cuts to the next episode.
All right, Justin, hold on just a second. Thank you so much, Annoying Llama, for the 2 gifted subs. Holy shit, thank you. All right. And what else you got, Justin?
Wait a minute.
Hello to Max World Entertainment.
Those weren't just gifted subs. They were gifted subs to both Travis and Raina. So there you go.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. But yeah, as far as episodes, I think the TVA is going to actually find them on the planet, and then they're going to use their data pad to escape.
All right. Greg, have you given your final thoughts and predictions?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Son, what are your thoughts now that you've heard everything?
So I still maintain that this TVA is meant to be destroyed, especially with how they keep proclaiming like this some glorious timeline thing going on, and it's like, well, they kind of have to be destroyed for the whole Doctor Strange to be able to see all the possible futures that he saw in Infinity War to begin with. That's Adam Isle brought up an interesting theory, and that's actually kind of contradictory to David Murphy, and that is that this TVA is the machinations of Mobius. Like all the stuff that's going on is Mobius, and Mobius is working on something else using this TVA association he's created to work on whatever the hell he's working on. I have no clue what any of that means because I don't know who the hell Mobius is or what that kid is. But okay. But it got me thinking, what if this TVA itself is a variant of the real TVA.
That's
then-
shit right
and then-
there.
And that at the end of all of this shit, the real TVA will come in and go, okay, we're arresting a whole bunch of people.
Wait a minute. Well,
There's a. Oh, go ahead, Justin.
well, yeah. I mean, what if the split of the main timeline created multiple TVAs, and now there's more than one, and they're all
Well,
fighting dominance?
How we talked about a couple movies, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. There's one that we haven't talked about that will tie into this: the Eternals. They have supposedly been around longer than anything, so it's very possible they're playing a role in this. Also, that this will connect into the Eternals, which comes out this year also.
I always bring up that this channel called Emergency Awesome that does great videos on the MCU, and one of the things that he said is if you actually look at the new Doctor Strange movie, one of the head writers is one of the head writers for Loki. So they don't know if it's just, coincidence or if it's, that there's something more there to connect it.
It would make sense and help keep a story together.
Because we have, Electro and Doc
Ock and Rhino.
Yeah. Which that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how they tie that in. Like, I'm so stoked.
I really think we're getting Spider-Verse, or at least we're getting the start of the Spider-Verse.
You know what? I would pay admission if it's a bad movie of Garfield and Maguire in the movie. Just a cameo is enough to get me in the door, and I think more.
I think you're right.
All right. Let's wrap up this review and let's get Travis back in here. Hey,
Travis!
Everybody wave to Travis. Hey!
Come on back. No, you're supposed to come back, not just wave.
We'll let Travis start Bad Batch.
All right.
And since I'm not caught up on Bad Batch, I will be
taking your headphones out.
Are you
Well, before you
kidding
go, why don't you fill us in? Well, first, Justin, throw up that spoiler warning, please.
Again.
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 Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Before we get into the latest episode of The Badge, Carlos, why don't you fill us in on your impressions of the show so far?
Yes.
Well, I've only seen the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
But I mean, I enjoy it. I like it. I was afraid that the little girl would end up being sort of like the Wesley of Star Wars.
You said what I did.
But I enjoyed what I've seen in the first 2 episodes, and I'm looking forward to catching up. But I like the way it looks. I like the fact that Travis, I'm sorry, I haven't finished catching up on Clone Wars, but yeah, I know it's a sin. I know it's a sin, but I like the fact that even though it's basically subsequent to Clone Wars, not having seen Clone Wars, it felt very comfortable getting into the story. And that's a testament to some good writing. I think that it can engage someone who's not quite up to speed in the story and feel committed to it.
Good.
All right.
You'll like it.
Okay, now you can bow out.
Okay, I'll wave when you want me to come back.
Go wave. All right, Bad Batch episode.
Oh my!
Okay. Speaking of bad
Episode
timing,
9. Last episode, we saw the return of Cad Bane,
yes,
fan favorite and badass bounty hunter. We had Omega getting taken, and we start this episode up exactly where we left off, which seems to be the trend of the last couple episodes, with the Bad Batch fleeing from Crosshair and desperately searching for, but having no idea where to go. Meanwhile, Omega definitely finds a way to escape her captivity and evade Cad Bane, only to be intercepted, and the Kaminoans being revealed as the ones who contracted him. Her escaping into the abandoned Kaminoan complex and being confronted by, damn it, what was her name again?
Not Cad Bane.
Ming-Na Wen's character.
Not Cad Bane.
There you go.
what is
Bounty
her
Hunter
name?
number 2.
Like
You know, I keep wanting to call her the Witch of Nimbus, and it's like I don't know why.
what is the name? Like I feel
From
like
this
it
point on,
begins
we
with
call
an
her
M.
Ninja Lady.
I feel like it begins with an M.
Hold on. Okay, you know what? Let's Google
I
it.
just call her the Sniper Lady because I mean she was literally clocking stormtroopers with a fucking sniper rifle.
Yeah. They even said the name a couple times during the episode. Damn it.
Hold
Anyway,
on.
2 bounty hunters fighting over the same bounty. Meanwhile, Omega is able to get away and actually get a signal out to the Bad Batch and home in on her location. They don't arrive near enough, but she managed to make an escape. And Fennec Shan, thank you, David. Thank you. Oh, so, and she's reunited, where she feels a sense of guilt that she's putting her friends in danger, and that she will continue to do so for as long as the Klingons are after her. So, what were your thoughts?
I called the Kaminoans putting the first bounty out on her with Fennec Shan.
That was what we all thought it was. I do believe so. Yes, good call.
And I believe, and it was how we put this. It was the good Kaminoan versus the bad Kaminoan Prime Minister who put Bane out on her, because Shan very, very just was like, "Hey, do you want me to go get her?" And she's like, "As long as she's out of the hands, as long as she's out of our reach, we're good." So my thoughts were, this is a great episode. I appreciate the whole serialized story. This is making sense. Where it's just picking up every episode we left off on. So the only gripe I had was like the little communicator. I was like, really, she got a signal with that?
It's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. Overall, a great episode. I loved the fight between Bane and Shan. That was intense. I absolutely loved it.
You're too experienced. You're too inexperienced for that. Yeah, I call BS at the end of that.
Bane is a little overconfident. When you get to be as badass as him, it happens.
Well, when you're up against Mulan, I mean, come on.
I love his quick draw skills. You know, like I'm actually like getting more and more intrigued when it comes to Omega right now, because they refer to her as being, you know, the only other like pure clone like of Jango,
Jango Fett.
Yeah, basically like this is Jango Fett's daughter. We never knew he had a daughter, and so like seeing this, like my intrigue just went through the fucking roof. Like I have mentioned before how much I absolutely love Jango Fett as a character. I thought he was 100 times better than fucking Boba Fett, you know, before like Star Wars actually started to, you know, flesh him out. But I mean, like, so like seeing like Omega doing like some of the stuff, I'm, you know, the wheels in my head are starting to turn. Like, okay, I'm drifting away from the possibility that she is force sensitive, and I'm starting to think that like she is like maybe starting to like pick up on some tricks that maybe Jango knew and maybe they're ingrained in her memory at times. And I think that is just like actually a really fun concept to be playing with. I am like I'm also 100% convinced now that we're going to see Boba Fett later, because I mean, as much as like it's kind of a bummer as this is, I think they are definitely going to be building up to the showdown between Cad Bane and Boba Fett that was not shown in the Clone Wars. So I'll be curious to see how they do that.
Isn't Boba the same age as Omega at this point, though? Like, Boba's not an adult
close
yet.
to the same age, yeah.
No, they're not the same age. Boba Fett, I believe, is in his, like, if I had to take a guess, he is anywhere between, I would say, 16 and 18 right here.
Okay.
Maybe. But, like, in the Clone Wars, he is, like, a preteen, so he wasn't super old there, but he was, like, you know, old enough to be like, he was forming plans and everything. He was decently old in the few episodes that he appeared in the Clone Wars. So yeah.
So Omega was created shortly after Jango and Boba departed.
Would have
Most
had,
likely.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Just
Makes sense.
That's my theory anyway.
Okay. Who hasn't spoken yet? I lost track. Raina, go ahead.
I love this episode, and I was glad that they didn't take the cheap route of force sensitivity, because I figured this would have been the scenario that it would have manifested. But I actually like that everything that she's been training for came to a head here. Like,
Yes.
she had to use everything that she had learned thus far. And I kind of like the little wink and nod they do to the crowd, like when she finally gets access to Cad Bane's robot, where it's like, oh, it seems like she's going to do the right thing. Betrays him, and then kind of looks at the camera like, yeah, you knew this was coming. You know, and I kind of like that, where it's like she's become like, from so sweet to kind, like, I'm going to survive this. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to do this. And she really does. And the one thing I'm one of the ones that I don't like Cad Bane usually. I thought he was hilarious here. He was just tired of everyone's shit this whole episode.
Yes.
He was like, are you kidding me? My favorite scene, and I actually screenshotted it because it was hilarious, is when he sees that bomb and he's like really? I love the whole bounty hunter versus bounty hunter thing, but the moment that really spoke to me was just Wrecker like her seeing Wrecker and just the excitement of like, oh my God, I'm getting the hell out of here. And the heartfelt moment at the end really just tied this episode together in just the most beautiful way. And it really pulled on the heartstrings. I think it did everything right. And now we kind of got a full picture with the Kaminoans about what is happening and why there's two different bounty hunters with two different missions.
Yeah, they were quick to cut the chase in that one. I was glad they kind of did that.
Yeah, and then before I pass the torch here, I have to say I really love Crosshair's just like just irritation with them getting away. Like, oh, these guys, are you serious again? Enough.
Poor Crosshair.
Dude, he just cannot win. He's had his face burned Vader style, and now he's lost them again.
Well, he's extra crispy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I still love that from last episode. That's going to stick with me forever. They used an engine to just blast him back, which was great.
A starship engine.
I just thought it's beautiful. I love this show to bits. I love it.
Great.
I mean,
I
you
really
see the
like
same thing when you go to Ronto Roast at the Galaxy's Edge thing. I mean,
I really enjoyed the chase moments of this episode, especially when Omega got into the interior and she found the abandoned cloning vats. The reflection of herself in the tank as she started to realize what it was the Kaminoans wanted from her, and then Fennec showing up and being gentle of voice and intent, taking off her helmet to try and show her that she's not as much of a threat as Cad Bane, who has no mask to hide behind. And then, of course, the broken tank falling on Fennec and the body of the Kaminoan on top of her, which kind of shows how the Kaminoans keep their population up, which is kind of creepy. But yeah, that was my big standout moment. Justin, have you voiced your thoughts yet?
No. But yeah,
Go for it.
That was one of my big moments too. No, I almost thought maybe that girl could have been a clone, but we'll see how that plays out. Did she ends up joining the Bad Batch here? Because she was actually trying to help a girl out, and she was hired by the Canon to do it. So yeah, that's a plot twist. At least we know it's they're against each other on this one. It's not somebody else like a Jedi or another rogue to trying to get Omega or anything like that. So yeah, I wonder if we will see Boba Fett, because they name dropped him multiple times in the episode. So we might get to see a young adult version of him.
I've got a interesting thing on that one. Since Fennec Shen is basically the one who saved Omega, like she was hired to take her to Kaminoan, but to avoid the Prime Minister. So she was basically after save her.
Mm-hmm.
We get a new show at the end of the year, the Book of Boba Fett, and who's Boba Fett paired up with? Fennec Shan. So either Boba Fett's going to show up in this show, or if Omega survives, she will pop up in the Book of Boba Fett, or at least name dropped pretty heavily, because Fennec is now that connection between the two.
Yeah, that's right.
Ooh.
She can sit there and be like, yeah, I saved Omega, and Boba, if Boba is aware of her existence, can sit there and be like, hey, you're going to help me find her.
But Fennec didn't join up with Boba until he found her for dead after
On Tatooine,
the
right.
Mandalorian
Exactly.
had his shot with her.
But that connection probably come up, but she is the connection. If Boba doesn't know she exists, Fennec is that bridge.
Interesting. That's an interesting link. That's a good call, Greg.
It's almost George
I don't
theory.
think Fennec's going to join up with the Bad Batch. Her job's done. She's moving on to bigger and better things. I think
we did see
we're
that
definitely not done with Cad Bane, though.
No,
He's so
And-
pissed right now.
I'm
He's
looking
so
forward to the eventual. The Imperials have the Bad Batch cornered. Cad Bane has the Bad Batch cornered, and we get a 3-way battle royale.
and then the Jedi will come in at the last minute and
No
Fuck 'em all
Jedi.
up.
We don't need no Jedi.
You know what? I actually hope that
I need a
Hunter.
soundboard so I can say no.
Can I just say I really hope that Hunter and Cad Bane have another showdown and Hunter wins the second one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think we're done with Fennec Shan for this show, for at least the rest of this season, because they told her, hey, as long as she's out of reach, we're good. So Fennec's like, okay, bye.
But she
yeah,
left the door open. Like,
did.
call me if you change your mind. So
Right.
I don't know. Like they could be. Also, all those Imperial credits just falling, gone.
Unmarked
All
credits.
The credits.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, thousands of miles down below, it's just like some dude in like a street market. Hello, can I have some blue milk, please?
And Rip Tunwi, the first Kaminoan we met in Boba's caretaker.
Can I just say that another thing I like is the design of this facility. I had some serious Metroid vibes in there.
Right.
It was like the ambiance was so dark and just really like this lingering sense of dread through the whole thing. And I really love when shows can really pull that where you feel the environment in a sense. Like that was magnificent design. I love it.
You can
Yeah,
tell
that was
who
definitely
played,
good.
You can tell who played Metroid Fusion, huh?
Yes.
my
All right,
favorite.
Travis, have you voiced your thoughts yet?
I already voiced my thoughts. I
okay.
love this episode.
All right. Well, thank you
Also,
guys
did you do
very
your-
much.
also, did you do your posture check?
Oh, posture kit. Okay. Yep.
Are
sure
you
I'm not
torturing
slouching.
Travis? Are you torturing? Are you torturing Ross with?
No.
Just
He's going to. He'll be torturing me if he compels me with the workouts redeems that are in there.
I have enough for that. Like, just be happy that I don't have enough for sing mode. Okay.
Here's the thing. I do have enough for Sing mode.
Oh,
Oh
damn.
my god.
I have over 128,000 channel points for his
Jesus.
channel. So
Well,
yeah,
go to
Can-
town if you wish.
All right.
Also,
That'll wrap up the Bad Batch for this week.
So,
Moving on
so,
to
um,
that's
wait a minute,
our
wait.
last.
wait a minute. I didn't get to say anything.
Oh, sorry,
Say
son.
something,
Go
son.
ahead.
Based off our analysis.
And then
So-
we had it coming back to Pedraza.
So like you guys keep mentioning like this fight between Fennec and all and like this bringing back to the Kaminoans and all this stuff. And the only thing really going through my mind this entire time is, you've got the mercs who are doing their job for the two different factions of all this is going on, and nobody's really explained why.
The Kaminoans want Omega back so they can create more clones. The genetic material they have to make new clones has degraded, and they need a fresh stock in order to continue to produce and to enhance so that they can make a superior product and continue their business with the Empire. They created Omega as a fresh source of gene stock. She is a unedited, pure clone, as opposed to the clone troopers in the Bad Batch.
So she's basically she's basically Boba Fett, just female.
Yes.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, because like you were all talking about all of this stuff, and I'm like, but why?
Yeah, she's basically Boba Fett's sister. If we're gonna go that route,
so like that makes a lot more sense now.
Boba was originally known as Alpha before he was named.
So wait a minute. There's Alpha, and then we have Omega, who's Beta.
No,
Beta
Gamma.
Justin, you're missing the metaphor.
Alpha and Omega.
The beginning and the end.
Okay.
That's the metaphor.
Also, hi, Rummy. I know you're watching.
Hi, Rummy.
I still think I still really, really think that at some point Omega is going to do something that's going to make the Empire seriously go, we think she has force powers. Like even our clones couldn't do this shit. She's got force powers. Put her in the vat. Let's make Dark Troopers.
I'm actually opposite of Sun's prediction. I think something involving her is actually going to make them go full on conscription.
They were already starting to do that.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think that she is going to be the catalyst of why they switch over for some reason. I just have a feeling about that one.
And since we're more than halfway into the season now we're in the tail end. If we're getting 16 episodes, we're in the back half. After the way Omega and Hunter were having their talk, I'm willing to bet she gives herself up to save them. That she will put herself up and maybe ditch them to be like, hey, if you're going to leave them alone, I'll come with you.
Yeah, but she knows they're going to come after her.
That too, yeah. Because she doesn't want to see them hurt, but then she doesn't want to die. So this poor little girl is in an existential crisis right now.
We will see. All right, that will wrap up our reviews for the night, and Carlos, come back. Hello, there he is.
So
all right.
Needing to wave.
With our reviews complete, we roll into the continuation.
Oh my!
That's a new one.
We've got a lot of new ones.
Good.
That's what she said.
Let's roll on into our second Star Trek topic of the night. Alex Kurtzman on the official Star Trek podcast was talking about the future of Star Trek and how the world needs Star Trek. How many different varieties of Star Trek that there can and will be, including a Star Trek musical episode.
What?
I highly agree with that.
Yep, that's about the reaction I expected, Greg.
Look. Carlos only agrees because Carlos enjoys the musical of High School, the musical.
It's true. It's very meta and very musical. And I'm watching the second season right now too.
Yeah, but here's the question, Carlos: is it cerebral?
Technically speaking, we already got our Star Trek musical when they did Rent.
What?
No, we got our Star Trek musical when they did the musical commercial.
Yes, that was of Rent. That was a play on
Rent. Carlos, did you see what I won last week?
No, I did not. What is that?
He won
Nice.
Oh wow, nice. Where did you win that?
From Discovering Trek podcast.
Oh, we like them.
Yes, we do. It also comes with these.
Nice.
Nice. And congratulations. That's why I'm wearing my choo shirt.
It's only 2 chews.
All right. Well,
But they added the third one for fun.
For fun, that's right.
I was in the mindset that I didn't think that the world needed any more musicals. Then I saw that Lucifer had a musical episode. Now I think every show should have a musical
They
episode.
did.
Oh my god!
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
That-
it's one
that
of Ray's
Lucifer-
favorite episodes.
It is one of my favorite episodes.
It is good.
Did you finally watch it?
I'm all caught up now. I'm finished.
Is everybody all caught up on Lucifer?
Not
Oh,
yet.
I'm
Not
not.
yet.
I don't watch it.
I've
I
never
don't watch
seen a single episode of that, so
Oh, you need to,
Dude,
Travis.
you got
It's
to.
great.
No,
you
I
will,
don't need
you
to,
will
man.
laugh. You will laugh. You will laugh, and you will laugh, which is something you're gonna. Yes, you love it. Yes, you need it.
And
I,
Rob-
I
I
agree.
just have this to say about it. It ain't no High School Musical, the musical, the series.
It's better than High School Musical.
And High School, the musical, the series is no.
Lucifer.
What
Blues
was the
Brothers.
other musical TV show on ABC? Damn it!
Blues
Well,
Brothers.
High
I
School
watched the whole damn
Musical
thing. Glee.
Glee.
Oh, that was on Fox.
It was on
that
Fox,
show.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it's on
High
Fox.
School Musical doesn't have God.
And you know
forcing
what?
people to sing.
You know what? None of those compare at all
Uh-oh.
to the Rocky Horror Picture Show and its sequel, Shock Treatment.
I heard the sequel wasn't that good.
The sequel is just as good.
Yeah.
That's why most fans call it the equal.
I will just say that I just saw Rocky Horror Picture Show for the first time last year. I had never
Wow.
seen it.
And
I had
That's a long time to be a virgin, man.
and
Oh my.
There we
what
go.
did you
That
think?
was good. That was
What did
good.
you think?
I loved it. It was
Okay.
fantastic. My mom had looked at me. I was, it was on it was coming on during like Halloween time. And I was
Mhm.
like, I've never seen this. And she just looked at me and she's like, "You what?"
But here's the thing. Here's the
Wait,
thing.
wait,
you
no,
need to
no, sorry,
know.
George. She raised
Wait a
you.
minute, wait a
It's
minute.
her
What?
fault, though. It's your mom's fault.
Well, no, it was like one of those things where she just had like assumed, like she's like, hasn't like like every like
Again, this
hasn't
is your
every
mom's
like
fault.
trans girl like it? Don't they enjoy this kind of thing? I'm like, I never really like sat down to watch it. She's like, we're watching it right now. Sit down.
Okay, here's the thing, though. You need to see it like in a theater with people there, because just seeing it
Your
on
reactions
screen
are
without
priceless.
any of the it's not as good. It's not as
Okay.
good.
Carlos,
The
what
reaction
Carlos is
make the
saying.
movie.
What Carlos is saying is you need to go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Experience,
Yes.
the movie.
The experience, yes. Yeah, it'll if you liked it by itself, you'll love it.
Wait until
even
other
more.
people get involved.
Oh,
Raina, the reaction from the crowd is fucking priceless. You will enjoy the hell out of it. Go see it in person.
I have to say, like, I was one of those ones where I'm like, I always claim that I hate musicals, but then when I watch it, I'm one of the ones like kind of dancing to it, and so
everybody does the time warp, man.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic. I
So,
love it.
Kurtzman and musicals.
All right, so
Shut up, Wesley.
Hey, he referenced Buffy as one of the examples.
Look,
Oh,
I agree
Christ,
with
Kurtzman.
the first half of Kurtzman's statement and not the second half. So there you go.
Thank you.
I actually really hope that Strange New Worlds is the Star Trek that all the crying and complaining fan base is actually wanting out of Star Trek. Because I want like 50 bajillion different Star Treks.
I'm not
I
crying
do
and
too.
complaining.
I do too, actually. I like the fact that we have very different series. Yeah,
We
I
have
mean,
a
there's,
little bit of something
Star
for
Trek for
everybody.
everyone.
But they're very bad series.
oh, Greg.
Shut up,
Oh,
Wesley.
Greg, they're
If we're
there.
gonna get the
You
if we're gonna
are
get the music
a
if we're gonna get the
douchebag.
musical, it's either
You
going
are
to be
a douchebag. That's right. A douchebag. A
See, you
total
still
douchebag.
That's a long one,
Okay,
Justin. Cut it
yes.
off.
if I,
you still haven't gotten the one from Red Alert 3 where he literally says you are made of stupid.
Oh, you like
No. Greg is not stupid. He is merely
here it comes.
misinformed.
If I may, the musical if Kurtzman's going to do his musical Star Trek, hold on. Then it's either going to be Discovery or Lower Decks.
Lower Decks would be perfect for it.
Lower Decks would be
Lower
perfect for the
Decks
musical.
is,
Actually,
Lower
I
Decks.
could see it being more on Strange New Worlds
It could also be Prodigy.
because
Yeah.
or
Oh
Prodigy.
my god.
But we already had a movie on Lower Decks. Now imagine a a Mariner run musical on the
There you
holodeck.
go.
A sequel
There you
to
go.
the movie.
Part
but
two,
it's,
part two to Encounter at
Farpoint.
Crisis.
no,
you
not
mean,
Far Point.
You mean Crisis Point?
Crisis Points.
Oh,
It's
Rise
the
of
Crisis
Invicta.
Point sequel musical.
Look, yes.
The Rise
I
of
can see that happening. So you have Mariner leading it, and
For music. Oh, the Crisis Point teacher search.
And the only person who has spoken lines is Boimler because he's not having it.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I just kind of like this.
Oh,
this whole I love. No, I was just gonna say I love this whole mentality with the podcast. Greg, you're not wrong, but you're wrong.
pretty much.
So
if I may, so okay, here we're pitching the Lower Decks musical. So they go to do Lower Decks musical. You got Mariner leading it. You got Boimler in there, and then you have Riker slide in with the trumpet. With the trumpet.
The trombone.
Dude, if
Trombone.
Riker is not epic sax guy, like come on, that's a missed opportunity.
Here's why I don't think it's going to be on Lower Decks.
Okay.
Because if you read what Alex Kurtzman said in this interview, he said that he expected to be in a short trek, and P.S. also revealing for the first time there are currently no short treks planned.
Interesting.
Not that they won't ever do them again, but there are
That's not
none
planned.
currently
Well,
planned.
with the pandemic, I can actually see
Yeah,
that.
no, that makes sense. But
yeah, because production time, because they've had to stop the Cards production at least twice already, I think, because of the pandemic, and
Short
Discovery's
Trek.
got stopped once, and so did New Voyages.
Or maybe Picard has a musical in it. I mean, Patrick Stewart can sing. You got John Delancey coming with a mariachi band. I mean, come on.
no mariachis.
I have
Yes.
to say
Yes.
this. I
Yes.
have to say this. See, the reason Carlos thinks it's going to be in Strange New Worlds is because he wants that Duloc sequence from fucking Shrek again.
It's only
And-
because I think that the episodic nature of Strange New Worlds lends itself more to this than something that's
Yeah,
serialized
they
like
show up on a
Discovery.
brand new planet. They get this
A
little
musical
box
planet.
thing, It opens up and it's like, "Welcome to Duloc, such a perfect town."
No.
Yes.
All right, let's wrap this topic up. We got a lot. We got a lot to cover.
Okay.
Or some
All right,
musical planet with
wrapping things
Pac-Man.
up. Moving into our superhero movie news, we had 2 trailers drop this week. The first
Yes.
being the latest trailer for Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings. Have you guys watched it? And what do you think?
Yes.
Justin,
It was
Justin.
fucking awesome. My kiddo sent it to me this morning. She's all excited for it. She was just all over the place, like, "Oh my god, they're actually doing it! They're actually doing this! Look who they tied into it!" She's all like, "Oh my god, look who they brought into this!" And she's like, I can't believe they're referencing all this." I'm like, "She's more excited for this than I am." Cool. But yeah, I can't. It looks good. It looks like it's actually going to be really, really good. So I just hope the actual movie, whenever we do finally get to see it, is not a letdown like Wonder Woman 84 was.
Raina, what do you think?
I actually was so excited about the announcement.
Well,
in
this
the
isn't a
first place.
sequel.
No, I was so excited about this, guys.
They hide it.
That on my Kindle Unlimited subscription, I have actually started reading comics, and this was the first series that I was like, you know what, I want to check it out. So I had been checking out this one and the Rocket Raccoon ones, which is they're hilarious. They're
Nice.
hilarious, but one thing is, like, immediately in this trailer, I was reading a comic the other day, and I was like, "There, Fing Fang Foom, man! That whole talking riddles. It's like the Yoda of that series." I'm like, I saw that dragon in the trailer. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so glad they're going with that because it's so good. But the one thing, like, everyone was going nuts about Abomination, but I was like, the fighting between father and son. I love how they do this dynamic of family. It feels so different than other Marvel films, and that's what's exciting me. Like, I went through kind of a fatigue after Endgame, and I was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to recapture that magic, because Spider-Man Far From Home was kind of like, it was good, but it was just, it felt like once you hit your peak, like, you're not going to be able to, like, really rise to those levels again. But this trailer excited me. I'm so stoked. It looks so good. CGI looks top-notch. The dynamic of family being like, these are the people you have to deal with, but they're also trying to kill you, and they kind of find it humorous that they can't kill you. And not to mention the Ten Rings itself, like they're so different in the comics. So I'm kind of eager to see if they're gonna play similarly. So I'm very stoked. Each trailer makes me more excited. Like the first trailer was good, but then this one just elevates it to like a whole nother level.
Yeah, I thought they were going to go with the Mocklin ring deal, but I'm happy that they're changing it up just a little bit for the movie. So it looks like it's going to be hella fun.
It's going to be exciting.
What'd you think?
I haven't seen any of the trailers.
What?
Okay, Greg.
I absolutely loved it, and I definitely topped the first trailer. Of course, I'm harping on the Abomination now that Incredible Hulk is officially canon.
It was never not canon, just none of the actors.
It was just never
to use the term, it was beta canon. Now it's alpha canon.
Well, Marvel always kind of seemed wishy-washy with it. Like they were always kind of like, it's canon, maybe. Like I don't know. I know Robert Downey Jr.'s in there, but that's really all we know about it. And we produced it.
It's canon. They just changed the actors around and kind of just brushed aside everything else.
So
it's the only movie not
Universal produced it, okay? Just like Sony produced Spider-Man.
So with this one, the Ten Rings,
better than Ang Lee.
The Ten Rings are obviously vibranium rings, so that's going to be interesting to see how they got a hold of that since it's only in Wakanda. How did his dad get a hold of vibranium rings?
Wait. How do you know they're vibranium?
How do you know they're vibranium? Yeah.
The color purple, the way they act, that's easily vibranium.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Vibranium is only on Wakanda on Earth.
Right.
It could still be celestial vibranium.
Yeah.
Wait. I want to argue Greg's against the point here because I believe this is Marvel doing their thing where they have to make everybody's powers different colors so you know who's doing what. So because think about it. One side of the power at the end of that trailer when it's father and son fighting against one another, one side is like bright orange,
and
like yellow and orange, and then the other side is purple. So it kind of feels like it's almost like a chakra or like some kind of soul energy.
Killmonger.
Well, you see, the good guy has a blue laser sword, and the bad guy has a red laser sword.
Well,
T'Challa was purple, Killmonger was gold.
And Samuel L. Jackson got the purple lightsaber.
And we're looking at this in the perspective, guys. Like this is like something about you see a lot of like magic in this trailer too. So you got to think that there is probably some serious martial arts ties into that, like inner chakra and things like that. I would not be surprised if that's like we have another form of magic because we've seen there's a Doctor Strange character in this trailer fighting in the ring against Abomination. They're using the same magic from that. So it's kind of like I think there's different forms of magic, and I think WandaVision was like the open door, like, oh, she uses chaos magic, but that's totally different than the other 90 wizards out there. This is different.
I like David Murphy's comment. It's
Arctic vibranium.
It's Arctic vibranium, and they found it right next to the Borg.
Well, that's funny, but do remember, by the way, and son, you're right about it, that vibranium. The reason vibranium does not exist on Earth naturally. It was a meteor that hit Wakanda, that hit Africa, and who's to say that was the only meteor that ever hit the Earth?
That's true. This could be the inclusion of adamantium. Just another explanation for them to add that in.
My thing is that his dad could have maybe in some way procured it through trade. I mean,
except that vibranium does not inherently have powers. It is, it has properties, but you can't shoot beams out of it. So,
but I mean, I think the rings themselves,
you can do holograms out of it.
Wakandan weapons are vibranium based.
I don't think they're going to do the rings earthbound. I think they're going to do it like the comics. I think they're looking different, but I think considering how the father hasn't aged at all, he's been through like feudal wars. Like these rings have some serious power, and I think they came from somewhere else. I don't know if they'll do the whole spaceship crash thing, but I think that they're not from Earth.
If I may, not that the cast looks great, but is anybody else disappointed I missed a chance to cast Jackie Chan in this movie as the father?
That would have been a little on the nose.
So
He's an archaeologist.
So following Raina's example, long ago, the great god Zordon asked for 10 teenagers with attitude.
Oh no!
I love this trailer. I love this trailer because it's finally making me go back to my old Marvel phase. Well, actually, it's finally having me analysis this whole thing and looking so deep into it.
Welcome to the Super Geek.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was after Endgame, you didn't feel any need to do that with anything that was coming out. Now I'm like, all right, now I'm going to put this at 0.10 speed. I knew it. I see it. Is that an Ant-Man? No.
Okay, Endgame was just an epic Power Rangers battle.
Oh God, it was.
All right. Any other thoughts on Shang-Chi?
Giant water dragon looks amazing.
Yes.
I think the visuals. I think the visuals on it look great. I'm glad that they went with bracelets instead of rings.
Right.
Finger rings. I think that's more cinematic. It looks more badass. I've always had sort of mixed feelings about Shang-Chi because some of the runs of the comics were excellent and others were not. I liked the character, but didn't always like the way they wrote him. This feels right. This feels like they've picked the right pieces, the right kind of story to tell with this. And in an age where people are very sensitive to cultural appropriation, that's a good sign. I hope they don't, and they won't make the same mistakes we saw in Iron Fist, which was what a hot mess that was. So this does not look like an Iron Fist.
But see, that's the thing. Iron Fist was actually true to the comics because the comics were a hot mess.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's
what will elevate this movie to a 10
No, they aren't, Justin. No, they aren't.
What if the thing that's going to elevate this movie to a 10, guys, is if they have a Trevor cameo, the fake Mandarin.
No.
The fake Mandarin.
That would be hilarious.
That would work in a lot of ways. I like that.
Just as long as it doesn't turn into some stupid giant armor thing.
You know what? And you could explain it away as he has the bracelet of charisma, so they just assumed he was the Mandarin.
I know absolutely nothing of what you guys are talking about.
Look, I don't know either.
Let's move on to our next one. We're running short on time.
Okay.
The second trailer released this week was the Suicide Squad. And compared to the last one, we get a lot more information. We get to see how it focuses more on Idris Elba's character. We see more Harley Quinn. We see more King Shark. We see more of Polka Dot Man. And it just looks like the kind of crazy fun that made Guardians of the Galaxy work, but cranked up to 14 for the Suicide Squad. What do you guys think?
We'll get a Batman camo again this time.
No. Carlos, go.
Okay, so I think James Gunn's Suicide Squad will redeem the this movie, this franchise. I like the fact that it's really embedding itself in the DC universe and really making the most of that, and being kind of true to the characters without going into that sort of. I know I'm saying hot mess a lot tonight, but the hot mess that was the first Suicide Squad. So I'm actually really looking forward to this movie. If Idris Elba is in it, he picks his movies very carefully. So, the fact James Gunn is the director, Idris Elba is in it, and, the strength that we've seen of these trailers about the kind of story it looks like they're trying to tell, I'm gung-ho for this.
Greg.
I absolutely love the trailer. I'm definitely digging Idris Elba's character. Harley Quinn's a shoe-in. She's good to go. I'm actually really, really interested to see how Pete Davidson's going to do in this movie. His little clip, oh my God, that's a werewolf, get it away from me. That was great. I really like that the storyline they're bringing in is the starfish. That was in Batman Beyond as a ploy where the whole Justice League was under control by them.
Mhm.
So that's great to
They
see. them
also
bringing-
had him in the original Justice League cartoons too.
right.
Yeah.
So this is now bringing that into play. So that's going to look really good. And again, James Gunn, this is Guardians of the Galaxy feel, but a rated R standing. Like that's exactly what this is. And I love that they keep saying that both trailers from the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn. So I'm really looking forward to this. And I'm sorry, the end of the trailer. What do you have eyes on? Bird.
I got to say, in between Suicide Squad and the Harley Quinn animated series, I've become a fan of King Shark.
Yes.
Yes.
What about Captain Boomerang?
Who?
That is a character straight out of the comics.
The guy who can like climb walls really good or some shit.
He got his head exploded in the first movie.
He was
killed off first episode.
He was the token that was introduced at the last second that oh yeah, okay, he's gonna die.
He's gonna die.
Yeah, which happened in very quick succession. It wasn't long after he was introduced, he went pop.
I love
Yeah,
that
there was no
Sylvester
subtlety
Stallone's
there.
I love that Stallone's voice in King Shark in the movie, so that's going to be great.
Justin.
Like I agree with what everyone else said here. I've only actually watched it once. I wanted to go back and try to do it again before the show, but I kind of got backed up. But yeah, it looks like it's going to redeem the last pile of shit that we got. That was called
Release the Ayer cut.
Yeah. Oh, don't start. Yeah, I can't wait. It looks exciting. King Shark, one of my favorites in this one, so I'm hoping he gets. I hope they don't do anything to kill his character off.
Raina.
I will say that I think this is the best move for them to hire James Gunn for this. Let him off the leash. Don't do the Marvel thing where he needs to stay in PG-13.
Don't do
Let
Snyder.
his wild mind run nuts. This trailer was awesome, and I was one that I absolutely despised that first movie with a passion. I came out of that theater literally screaming so much I don't think the friend I went with will ever call me back. But I will say that James Gunn is kind of like one of my favorite directors on the movie scene, like, because even in Guardians, like with what he's told to do, I love all the hidden jokes that clearly are above PG-13. But he's just the perfect man for this, especially because Suicide Squad is not meant to be tame. It is not supposed to be chill. It is fun as hell. And I think I will go see this movie, and I never thought I'd say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to wait for a movie to come out from DC. Like, I usually wait for it to come out like at the Red Box, but this is perfect. James Gunn, you sold me. And I think it looks fantastic. And not to mention Polka Dot Man. That's hilarious.
You know what I think is interesting is we've talked about this before on the show about how DC kind of jumped in too fast with its cinematic universe, and we weren't always fans of that. But I feel like little by little they're making progress. Like, I think they're generally moving in the right direction. Wonder Woman 84 notwithstanding. I feel like they're learning from their mistakes, and
they're doing it faster than it took Marvel to.
Yeah, which is kind of impressive. So I've always been a huge DC fan at heart. So I'm pulling for them, and I'm glad to see that there's some stuff going on that's moving in the right direction.
Carlos had a crush on Clark Kent.
I totally did.
Restore the Snyderverse.
Am I that transparent? So am I that
it's
predictable?
also because Marvel got bought out by Disney shortly after that.
I'm going way back though.
Yeah, okay, you and your Clark Kent crush, there, Carlos.
Yeah, all right, Travis. Let's hear from you.
And Lane.
You didn't see?
Okay. Son, do you care at all?
Shit.
Look, if you guys are excited for it, cool. I'm still burnt out on the whole superhero thing.
That's what I thought.
Like, I mean,
I'll say this.
The one thing I was wanting to see was the oh good God, I don't even remember the name of it anymore. It's like Black Canary, was it? The
Black Widow.
Black Widow. There you go. Can't even
Right.
hear all those straight in my head anymore. And it's like, you delayed this fucking movie that I was interested in so long. I have no interest in seeing it now that it's finally coming out.
Oh, what you need to do is what I do, which is forget about it. That way, when they finally do announce it, it's like, oh, it's time.
Yep. Now I'm so
Right.
cynical about everything being hyped, anything being hyped. It's
Well,
like, okay, cool.
All right.
kind of like
I'll actually say this. I'm still pissed that we're getting this before Guardians 3.
You know what?
That'll wrap up our trailer news for the week, and and one of the last things for superheroes this week. We all know that the Transformers movie series has been more or less a fucking dumpster fire.
Amazing
It
dumpster
started
fire.
out okay, and it got progressively worse over time
And
to the
this
point
is-
where
And this is
Greg,
going to
did you just
continue
say
that
an
tradition.
amazing dumpster fire?
Yes, because people will pay
Oh.
millions of dollars to see robots fight.
That's
true.
So
Doesn't
you're
make
gonna-
it amazing.
Wait, you're gonna say that the newest Star Trek series are shit, but you're gonna call Transformers amazing? You just lost all credibility with
I'm with Travis and Lane.
He said it was an amazing dumpster fire. The amazing part is that people keep throwing their money into the dumpster fire.
Okay, that's a good save, son. That's a good save, son.
I don't care. Like,
You know what?
Transformers and amazing do not belong in the same sentence.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
You know
they
what?
do. When it's about how much money the studio is making on a
I don't
fucking
care.
dumpster fire.
No,
I will say that.
Now that does not sound like cynical son that we heard just a few minutes ago.
That is me.
Is it?
I'm literally going, it's amazing that this corporation is still making money off a really terrible thing that is continually going on.
No,
it's just sad.
this journey is.
I had a whole monologue planned, and you guys just railroaded all me.
All over it.
Oh,
Sorry, Ross.
sorry,
Okay,
sorry.
but Rain has something to say.
I will tell you that my journey ended at the third movie because I will say that I like the only one that everyone seems to hate, and that is Revenge of the Fallen. I love that movie with a passion, but like the first one, this is my journey. I was in high school, so this was awesome. Like this is cool, man. And then the second one came out, it's like, it's all right, it's good. And then the third one, when they were like, we're introducing an element, Transformonium, and I'm like, all right, this is where I got to get the hell out of the theater. Why am I paying to see these movies? It's kind of like Paranormal Activity.
Okay.
You go in, you pay, and you say it's going to get better, and it never gets better. It's like an abuse case that you just can't get out of.
Okay, Transformers. Okay, after the first couple of movies, has become the Let's see, what's a good thing?
Guys, we could go all night if we talk about how much the Transformers movie sucked. That is a moot point. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the announcement of the new movie that has my interest again.
Yes.
That possibly,
Okay,
just possibly,
so let's talk
might
about
get
it. Hold on,
let Russ get his-
excited for this movie, for this series again.
Okay,
And that is Transformers: Rise of the Beast. We are getting Maximals. We are getting Predacons.
Yes.
We're getting Terracons. We are getting early.
Terracons.
Well, we're probably not getting early 90s CG, but we are getting what is, in my opinion, the best We're getting a transplant of the best Transformers TV series that we have ever had. With reintroducing the Beast Wars to the big screen. Let's hear about it. Travis, go.
I don't give a shit about Transformers, so like, sorry to rain on your parade there, Ross, but like, I don't care. Like,
I care.
well, then
Okay,
you can
Rain
have the spotlight.
I actually liked Beast Wars when I was 3 fucking years old. I have no interest in going back, and that CGI was cool then, and everything else. And yeah, you're gonna have the modern day CGI, but I'm thinking like, how many goddamn bad films do we have to have before people stop doing this?
Yes.
It's one of those things where Ross, I understand where there's like people, because they had that same thing with Bumblebee, but you just get so burnt out. Like, I'm where Sun is at with superhero movies. Like, if I see another Transformer movie, I might barf. I didn't even know this was in existence because I've been living in blissful denial in a world that it doesn't exist.
in a world with no Transformers.
So now,
Just-
so, so now we're doing. So now we're doing Transformers with animals.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're doing Power Rangers Lost Galaxy.
No.
No, this was before.
You know what? I'll pay if there's a robotic lane in there.
Ooh.
If they do that, I'm in.
There's a gorilla,
Me
there's
too.
a cheetah, there's a rat, there's a rhinoceros,
We need a weasel.
T-Rex, a raptor, a wasp, a tarantula, a black widow,
The jungle
and
fury.
That's it. Carlos, me and you, petition.org.
Am I
Let's do
missing
this.
anything from the original lineup?
No, from the original lineup, no.
River Otter.
But see, that's the thing. Some of those Transformers were not mentioned in the Transformer list for this movie. See, this is where I know that this movie is going to be a train wreck. Because they made this huge fucking list of all the bots that are going to be in this movie, and then said this movie is going to be human centric. The fuck? That's the reason the other one failed.
Yeah.
So it's going to be human centric, you say? So the Brainman's going to make a Transformers Power Rangers movie. It's not Power Rangers.
I'm a damn furry, and I'm not even excited for this movie.
Hold on, hope that there's something good coming up. Waspinator refuses to give in to despair, and Megatron says the same. Yes.
Look. Let's all be honest. If you loved Beast Wars as a kid, there was only one character you absolutely adored in fucking Beast Wars, and that was Black Arachnia. Thank you.
I did like Black Arachnia. Although Dinobot was a favorite.
Dinobot was awesome. I'm with Ross. Like, I'm really super excited for this. I mean, we're not going to get Transmetals, so we're not going to get Optimal Optimus Prime. We're not going to get
no Truck Monkey.
No Truck Monkey.
I thought you were going to get the was it Optimal Prime?
Optimal Optimus Prime.
No, the other one, like the Beast version, whatever.
Yeah, that's Optimal.
No. There was Optimus Primal. Was the leader.
Optimus Primal, right?
When he fused his spark with the original Optimus Prime, he became Optimal Optimus.
Yes.
So can I ask a question? Is this going to be within the same timeline as the original films?
Yes.
Then I'm definitely out.
And David Murphy says Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal on the same screen.
The film's title and logo were revealed during a virtual press event Tuesday, where it was also revealed that Anthony Ramos would be joining Dominique Fishback as the two human leads. Ramos will play military veteran and electronics whiz, while Fishback's character is described as an intelligent artifact researcher. The film will be set in the 90s to reflect the 1996 debut of the original Beast Wars cartoon.
Oh my god!
No, dear God, no.
So we're getting the original. We're getting the original G1 Optimus in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, it doesn't say anything about the Autobots and Decepticons.
But Peter Cullen is going to be Optimus. There's no way around that.
Well, Optimus Primal wasn't Peter Cullen.
No, it was not, but he will be.
I said this last night watching the Geekies. I said, look, there's only one way you can have a human-centric story and just like an assload of bots. And that is if two humans get stuck on actual fucking Cybertron. Because then you're literally trying to get them off of Cybertron.
Oh my God. You know what? There's only one way that Transformers to me is going to be really badass again. Take the game War for Cybertron and turn that into a fucking movie, because that game is the best Transformers game you'll ever play.
Netflix is with a TV series of the same name.
Netflix is doing a TV series. They're doing season 2 here soon.
You know, they could.
See, I didn't even know that. See, that's how far out I've been. Like, the thing is you can have these movies, and I think that they're a guilty pleasure, but what is the MacGuffin going to be this time? Because every one of those movies, and I've been through all of them, they all have a damn MacGuffin. So what is it? Is it going to be a robotic banana peel this time? I said something bad is coming.
It's that Megatron isn't the main villain in this movie. That's the MacGuffin.
Megatron is always the main villain.
Megatron
is
the main villain.
Yes.
The Otters would be main villain this time.
I'm never going to get over that. That's scarred in my brain. Transformonium. Like, as soon as I heard that, my mind just melted.
It's like going to the Avatar planet and finding unobtainium.
They're doing 5 movies. 5 Avatar movies.
So many paid people.
Because
Moving
he needs
on,
5 more
moving on.
Pokemon
Moving
and
on.
space alien.
On a bit of a bizarre note, Warren Ellis,
Like the rest of this show hasn't been bizarre.
a comic books writer accused of being a sexual predator, is returning to Image Comics under probation while he's under investigation.
Ugh.
At this point, it doesn't surprise me at all, one bit. If you continue to be in good standing with Comic Book Elite, you're going to continue getting jobs no matter what crimes you've committed.
Well, here's the thing: he was at Marvel before
DC.
the allegations came out.
Yeah.
He was let go and has now been hired on by Image.
Mm-hmm.
So may I ask, are these actual allegations or are these pending charges?
Right now, it's just allegations. There have been no
Allegations at this
charges.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's when I have a problem.
And what company is he with now?
Image.
Okay, so I'm actually not surprised at Disney and Marvel, because anytime something bad remotely happens, they drop a dime. This company I don't know very much about. So if
Well,
there's,
Disney did fire James Gunn, and after fan outcry, hired him back.
but to be fair, like his stuff was like it was edgy, but that's all it was. It wasn't like he committed a freaking crime.
Yeah.
But that was Disney's like way of protecting themselves, and even then they didn't take it that seriously. I don't think, because they hired him right back anyways. They just did it for the moment to appease the ones that were pissed off.
See, and I've been actually putting off this whole conversation because I wanted to have it weeks ago, and then Carlos disappeared.
I'm
Like,
back.
That the conversation you're talking about, Raina, is the same exact thing that's going on right now with Disney and the nomination of Gina Carano for shit. It's like, how do you as a company say the things that she said were anti-Semitic and all that kind of stuff, and then supposedly under the radar, then start nominating her for awards and shit?
But but this is corporation speak shit. Like that's all it always is. It's going to come down to
Right. That's what
appeasing people for the moment, and if it's an allegation, it's only when someone gets charged that anything is going to really be final. It's just the culture we live in. There's realistic cases of cancel culture, and then there's ones that are just completely bullshit. And I mean, we can call it whatever we want, but I've seen people who have, on YouTube even, that have had their careers canceled, and then they prove actively after the fact that they were not guilty of what they were accused of.
Oh yeah.
And then by that time, the damage is done. And I think this company's probably taking the approach like, look, if something concrete happens, we'll let him go. But until then, no.
Well, so let's
he was working at DC doing Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knight anthology, which is an anthology series paired with their Death Metal event series.
They have one of the coolest Jokers ever.
Let's also be honest here. He did the smartest thing you can do when shit like this goes down. Let's say fucking nothing. You let lawyers take care of shit.
Ross, I have one more question. I don't know if it says it in this story, but what was the time that he was let go between DC and Marvel? Like what?
Let's see.
Was there a time frame we have in that?
Well, the article itself says that it's
was about a year ago.
Year to the day that the allegations started coming out, but not that he was fired. So one would assume maybe within a week or two of all of this stuff.
And it's the same allegations. It's not new allegations.
It's not new allegations.
It's just 60 different people.
It's 60 people and as many as 100 that have been collected at SoManyOfUs.com. Which, interestingly, this was an interesting part of this, is he actually has reached out to them saying he wants to engage in a dialogue with them. Which
that's telling.
Is interesting. Like, I'm not quite sure what to make of that. But it's interesting that they did, and they haven't said no. Like, they haven't dismissed the idea. So who knows? I mean, they're very serious allegations. And, we heard from other comics industry titans who were aware of how he'd been behaving and how others in the comics industry had been behaving similarly, maybe not as bad as him, but, in the same neighborhood, that enough that this is a known problem within that industry, and so you kind of have to figure out, okay, well, what's the best next step, just given the fact that this is the kind of problem that's very difficult to bring to charges, to trial, to being charged, all of that, and yet you have people with voices who who say they've been through this terrible experience. It puts everyone in a very difficult position, because you can't do nothing, but doing something sometimes isn't always the best thing either.
Well, it's kind of weird because there's kind of like, it's a weird scenario that we're going to have to wait till more information comes out, because it's kind of like you always look for signs that there's some kind of shady underhandedness here, but you have people that are willing to engage in discussion, and you have the guy who's being accused like, hey, I'd actively participate. Most of them will just, if they're guilty, and I know that this is kind of like stereotyping, but they will lawyer up or they'll go silent. And I think that the fact that there's a dialogue is a big deal. I think that not canceling someone immediately, like, hey, let's come to a resolution, let's discuss this, let's talk it over. And it's no talks of settlements, just the fact that people just want to discuss it. I mean, that's what kind of makes it questionable, that something's not off about this, but it's kind of like, it's either going to be one of those cases where it didn't happen at all, or it absolutely happened, because it doesn't, like, there's signs that it goes both ways in this situation. Like, people are acting kind of abnormal in this situation, that we've seen compared to previous incidents of this kind of stuff happening.
Well, this is why I have a problem with cancel culture, because I mean, people are losing their jobs and their livelihoods. Just some people, hearsay, no one getting charges filed, and it's like, okay, you're going to ruin someone's life, and on just a bunch of people getting together, without any evidence, and completely ruin their livelihood. It just seems weird that this is allowed to go down. I mean, this is why we have a court system. This is what the legal system is for.
Well, but the legal system cannot address everything that's wrong. That's the problem.
This is becoming like that one Star Trek episode and one the Orville episode, where it's trial by public opinion. If you fall out favoring the public, you get downvoted out of existence.
Well, yeah, I mean, that definitely, takes it to an extreme. But
thinking back on this one, this is something that happened just yesterday, I believe.
Yes.
So I'm devil's advocate here. I support the company hiring this guy and letting him work until these are settled through. These are allegations, and yes, they can be bad. But if, like Brandon said, they're opening a dialogue, then you let that go through. You can't just fire him unless there's hardcore evidence. Now, the other side of this is Drake Bell just pleaded guilty to child endangerment. Felony child endangerment. So this is the other side of this. These are allegations. Yes, let him keep his job until this gets worked out. Drake Bell didn't even fight this. He flat out pled guilty. So this is where okay, this is where you're fired, you're done, this is where you're going. So this guy isn't pleading guilty. He's, like Son said, not saying anything, but then at the same time, like, hey, let me talk to you people, versus somebody saying they're actually flat out guilty. So that's where that's going to come.
And that's what I was saying, is what actually changed my mind about this, because I had to go through a big lesson with this, with cancel culture, because I was one of the ones that, like, I was a big follower of Pro Jared when he was accused of the things he was. And I jumped on the bandwagon where I unsubscribed, and, I got out of there when things got rough. And then come to find out, everything was BS. He had the receipts to prove that none of it was true. But by that point, it was damage, and you could see it. He was defeated. And I think that we're at this point where we need to adjust the laws, where it's like, look, don't fire the person if it's allegations. Maybe have them on some kind of advisory where it's like paid leave or something. But I think we're at this point where the internet's kind of playing into the way we manage our lives completely. And I think that until something's concrete, I feel like you have to have some kind of advisory step. I don't think that you can just cancel someone out. I think it's a big deal that we're having dialogues about this now, though, because it's been going on a while. And I'm not saying every case is BS. I don't want it to come off as that, because there's a lot of cases where things turned out to be very true, and it took a large amount of people to get them to even look into these circumstances. But there's so many cases now where all it takes is one to start a whole bandwagon and someone's career is over, their reputation. And by the time that they're able to say none of it's true and prove it, the damage is done. It's forever stained and soiled. So I think that this is kind of like, I think this company's making a good decision by like, hey, let's investigate this thoroughly.
They're not investigating it, though.
The company's not investigating.
No.
Okay, so
he was not working for them at the time that these allegations came up. He worked for them before, like back in, was it 2005 or something? But he had gone on. Yeah.
Okay.
So the company plays no role here other than hiring him now.
Oh, see, I was mixed up. I thought that these allegations came like that, like kept appearing from like something in past, and it was affecting the place he was working at now. Like I thought it was like prior Marvel DC, so he just lost his job.
No. He just got his job back. Not a job, a different job.
So it's just these allegations are just following him from place to place. These are prior allegations.
Right.
Oh, so, see, but this is the thing, though. Like, this is where the company has got to put on their investigative steps and do the right thing. You can't hold this guy in turmoil, because that's another way of destroying someone indirectly. You have this guy working for you. If he's truly innocent, then investigate it. But I think they're worried that if they do find something, they're going to have to oust him.
Well, see, that's the thing. The article says that it is being investigated, so it's still it's entirely possible that the investigation is still going on at Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm kind of curious, like where this is going to go. Actually,
but
what
see,
they're going to find.
See, I agree with you, Raina, because I literally sat there through the whole Pro Jared thing going, you guys shouldn't be immediately jumping on believing anybody who's...
And that's what I was saying. I had a hard lesson that I was one of the ones that instant unsubscribed when I heard. I was one of those ones back then that was really bad about that. But it really took that whole lesson of seeing that how easy it is. And that's the thing, is people were making compelling arguments with fake evidence to the point that it seemed legit. Like scenario was real.
It's worse than you think when it came to Pro Jared Arena, because even the people who were against cancel culture almost immediately jumped on board, because the complaint that was made was such an appeal to emotion that it caused people to literally go, yeah, we're out, bye-bye. And then turns out the person was somewhat as psychotic as I am, and
and there was a lot of things that were presented that were put out there, and there was not context. And then when you have the context, it completely changed the message of what was being said.
This is also why I am for big tech regulation, because shit like this is an actual form of harassment that isn't handled like harassment by the tech companies who say, we're against harassment of any kind.
Yeah, but I'm not for that complete regulation, because you snowball when you have regulation. And I'm afraid that you think that your stuff is going to be restricted. Like if companies started using terms of service like that to an even higher extent than they already are to abuse power, nobody would be able to stay actively on Facebook with their own opinion or anything. I mean,
you can't do that now.
I
mean, you get banned for telling someone to shut up, or you get banned for.
I think regulation is good, but you have to have it in moderation.
Well, and you also need to know what exactly you're regulating. Like
exactly,
because the problem with I see both sides in this. I don't think people should be unfairly treated or unfairly losing their jobs or whatever. But this appeal to the justice system to be the only arbiter here is unrealistic. It moves too slowly. It's too hard to get prosecutors to even listen to some of these accusers, to even begin investigating it. And then there's no other there's no other institutional mechanism for doing these kinds of investigations. So companies either have to pay for it themselves, or the accused person has to pay for it, or something to look into it. But to look to the justice system and say, hey, if they're not going to take care of it, then it didn't happen, is unrealistic and irresponsible, because, sometimes there's not proof, but there's, you don't see the fire, but you see a lot of smoke, and you have to be prudent, because for a lot of these companies, if they don't take action, they can become liable if they continue to provide an atmosphere in which, someone in a position like he was in is continuing to do something like he is accused of doing. And, and having heard from so many people testifying, making testimonials that it did happen, they can't ignore that happened. And so they have to protect themselves. I think Image is taking a big risk here. Are they making the wrong decision? I don't know. I don't have enough information to make that call, but they're putting themselves in a very risky position. And so I hope they see that.
This is an excellent conversation, a kind of conversation that needs to be had, but we're running short on time. So let's shift gears into our final topic of the show tonight. Thank you all for sharing your views and opinions on it. Our final topic today is a lot more lighthearted. It is the announcement that Paramount Plus and MTV are producing a crossover between RuPaul's Drag Race and the Brady Bunch.
And the Brady Bunch.
In a special episode where the male actors are reprising their roles of the show, and key winners and contestants of RuPaul's Drag Race are appearing as the female roles in the show. So, filling those gaps, All Stars 5 winner Shea Coulee will appear as Marsha Brady. Season 6 winner Bianca Del Rio as Carol, Ben de la Creme as Greg, Kylie Saniqua Love as Jan, and Nina West as Alice, and finally Candy Muse as Cindy.
Okay, I got one response to this, and
I want to have that same reaction, Justin, and yet I'm oddly compelled. I'm oddly compelled by this.
I'm going to end up watching it. I'm going to end up watching this. Is what's going to happen.
So am I.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we say no, but we're going to be dragged into it like tigers.
Because RuPaul's Drag Race is cool. Brady Bunch, but how the hell does this...
So, you guys talk about like ASMR, right? That autonomic response, right?
Yes. Travis's favorite thing.
Late last week, I found the thing that does that for me, and it's watching something that I'm so fascinated by, yet cringing watching at the same time. And Carlos is having this experience with this thought in his head.
Well, it's much like watching Carlos suck a little lollipop earlier, watching how fascinated Travis was by it.
Here comes.
I have another one.
Oh, no.
You're going to rot your teeth.
I'll brush my teeth right after the show.
Oh, my.
Look, at least they're Tootsie Pops and not Dum Dums.
That's true. Although I do have a Dum Dum over here, so...
You captured Sean? What?
Oh.
No, I said they liked they said I said they prefer to be called specials.
Well,
that was a joke from my 6th grade teacher, if I remember correctly.
What was her name?
His name.
His name.
I believe the one who made that joke was a guy named Mr. Schoaf. God rest his soul. He passed away a couple years ago now, I think. So.
All right. Well, here's to Mr. Shove.
Yes.
I'm watching the show. I hate to tell you. I'm
watching it. I'm definitely watching
it.
Watching
it. We're going to have something to talk about in either love or kind of why are we watching this?
I'm just fascinated how they're going to handle the football episode because you know that's going to happen.
Yes, it's gonna happen.
I think it's
Oh,
just a
the one
special
where-
episode. It's
the
not
one
going to be
where-
the whole series.
Yeah, it's just one. The one where
But-
where Jan gets hit in the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's like one of the most iconic scenes from that entire show.
Yes, it is.
Yes, over and over and over again.
Someone did a YouTube video of it. I don't think it's still up, but it was of the football hitting her nose over and over and over. And they just looped it for like an hour and a half.
Well, so this drops Wednesday, folks, like next week, like 5 days from now.
Paramount
4 days.
Plus.
We're probably going to talk about it on the show if things are pretty light.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
all right.
so does that mean if Carlos likes it, is he going to come in drag for the show?
The last time I was ever in drag was the last time I
Wait,
went to see
what?
Rocky Horror Picture Show. So
Oh yes, please,
Yes,
please.
no, I
Carlos
won't ever
is
do it
Dr.
again.
Frankenfurter. All right.
I won't do it again
What if
because
we all go and drag?
I looked in the mirror
No.
when I had all the makeup on and everything, and I was like, I looked exactly like my sister, and I was like, no.
So what you're saying is you didn't go in drag, you went as Meatloaf.
That was a really mean thing to say about my
my.
sister.
If I hear that
No.
I think, Justin, I think
No.
you maximum of 2 per episode. That's it. 2 per
Yeah.
show for that. It can be really funny, but
Yeah.
twice as good, I think.
All right, that will wrap up our regular episode of the Real Super Geeks for this week. Once again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications so you know when we're actually live, because YouTube's algorithm sucks.
And
Yes.
tell us in the comments whether or not
Yes.
you plan on watching Dragging the Classics with the Brady Bunch.
And leave your opinion about any of the topics that we're talking about today. Justin will do his best to reply, and maybe the rest of us will as well, here and there. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and share the video as well.
Share,
Thank you for interacting in the chat. And for those of you watching on Twitch, either live or in the VOD, thank you so much for joining us today, for hanging out, and for interacting using the channel redeems and everything else.
Don't forget
We're
what
talking
we're
about
watching.
what we're watching.
Yeah.
Right. What are we watching? Damn it.
All right.
Rewind.
You know what?
Now for the final segment of our show.
The final
Final-
segment. I'm trying to keep us on time. Damn it, it's midnight. Son, why don't we lead on with you? What have you been watching this week?
So this week I was watching Netflix because Rurouni Kenshin the final was on Netflix, and I was like, oh, this is supposed to be like the wrap up for the whole anime and everything. It was really good. It was like better than any of the other live action things that I've watched. Like it was better than the live action Death Note thing, and I'm like,
Ooh.
wow, this is really good. It's because it takes all of that like crazy stuff that you would see in the anime, and it applies all of that the crazy effects work that you'd see out of a movie like Kung Fury, and melds them together because like that's literally what would happen in the anime, and it is so well done, and the story is heartbreaking and endearing at the same time.
Cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, son. Greg, what have you been watching this week?
Other than Bad Batch and Loki and Reyna and Travis having fun in Halo, I started watching a show that I'm really not sold on yet, but it is Godzilla Singular Point English dub, dropped for Netflix. And it's definitely not what I expected. It's really hard. It's slow starting getting into it, but I'm into episode 3. Hopefully it picks up. But I'm a Godzilla fan, so I got to watch it and go from there.
Gojira.
Very cool. What have you been watching this week?
Who?
You
Yeah,
froze.
Cut out.
Travis.
and Lane. Don't forget Lane.
So
It's implied, Carlos.
I wanted X-Plied though.
So this week on Disney Roulette,
I have so missed Disney Roulette.
well, we got saddled with one of the many straight-to-DVD Disney sequels that came out between like the late 1990s
Aladdin
and early
2.
2000s.
Lion King
we
1.5.
didn't watch any of those. We watched
Oh no.
Cinderella 2, Dreams.
Oh, you
Oh
poor
my
Oh,
God.
oh.
You
And
poor
now,
thing.
if you guys haven't seen this, it's basically an
The biggest pile of shit on
film.
the planet.
Basically, picture like 3 separate, like half-hour episodes of some throwaway animated cartoon, and trying to like make a construct of this, because it's basically what this is. Like, it very much feels like that Disney wanted to originally do like a Cinderella animated series, and they couldn't get the ball rolling, and so they just like, okay, well,
So
we
it's
got 3
basically
animated
Discovery
shorts.
season 1. Okay.
They got like 3
Ouch.
animated shorts. So Discovery,
Oh.
Discovery
Yeah.
season 1 is
Yeah.
much better than this. The first the first little segment centers on Cinderella trying to plan the royal banquet after she and the prince return from their honeymoon, and trying to like learn all the traditions. And it features this snooty, like, oh, it simply isn't done that way. It's tradition to do it this way. And then Cinderella's like, well, I'm going to do it my way anyway, and ends up surprising the king. The second story centers on Gus Gus, one of the little mice, being really sad that he can't really help Cinderella because, like, she's a princess now and she has all these helpers around, and he thinks he's too small. And so Fairy Godmother transforms him into a human, and hijinks happen.
Chaotic fun ensues.
Yeah, there are actually some chuckle-worthy moments in that one, but I mean, like, it's still pretty forgettable. And the third one centers on Cinderella's stepsister Anastasia falling in love with a baker, and learning, kind of that love is wholesome, and that she doesn't have to be super fancy or fall in love with a duke or a prince to be happy. And that one is actually kind of wholesome, but my sister loves that one, and it's because she loves that one so much that she hates Cinderella 3, because I guess it just kind of retcon it. But I mean, like, that's
This is more than I ever wanted to know about Cinderella.
Well, there you go. You're gonna learn.
You know the deep lore of that love connection, right? Anastasia and the baker give birth to the Muffin Man.
Travis, you
Anyway,
don't understand. The TVA stepped in to make sure 2 didn't happen.
Spoilers.
That's right.
But, like,
Sacred timeline.
But anyway, like, I give it like a 4 out of 10. It's not the best.
That's still high praise.
That's still charitable, yeah. All right, who's next?
All right, Raina, what did you watch this week?
I didn't watch anything, but I've been going nuts on my Kindle Unlimited subscription. Started reading some of the Shang-Chi comics. Love the Rocket Raccoon comics. My God, they are hilarious.
I need to read those.
And
Yes,
but
you
the
do.
one thing that I love is I couldn't figure out. I wanted to, I'm a sucker for like supernatural romance crap. And I've read everything that I wanted to read, so I found out Kindle has a like shuffle button where they throw you a random book based on things that you've read in the past. And I started reading this book called The Tale of Tales, Book 1. And it's a hilarious story of an American college girl who goes to Japan, completely gets drunk and just harasses the culture there, comes back and realizes that the dude she had a one-night stand with turned her into a kitsune, has everything is going awry, and it's a parody of everything that's in these romance novels. Like everything that you expect to happen where it goes the typical routes, it just goes off the rails and she messes up everything. and I love this book because it just is so humorous, and it makes fun of like what it's based on so much that everything that you expect from these books, it just turns it into a comedy, and it's great. Like, it's so good that I wish they'd make a show of it. The main character is just hilariously sassy and just like she ruins everything. And it's just she's a hot mess. Literally, I'm stealing Carlos's words tonight. It's fantastic. I love it.
I just have one piece of advice for the shuffle button on your Kindle, Raina. Don't click on anything that says it's written by Chuck Tingle.
You mean Carlos spit out his drink?
Because Carlos understands. Chuck Tingle.
Carlos knows.
Chuck Tingle is an author who can't stop writing these insanely absurd love stories. Like his literal first skyrocketing novel is called "Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt."
Oh my!
Okay,
There you go, Justin.
That deserves it.
That was perfect. That was perfect, Justin.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
Romance.
I'm one of them ones that's just an absolute sucker for anything that's like supernatural romance. I am one of those people. Like I will read that crap all day, even if it's bad. Like even though bad is entertaining.
So Twilight.
That's where I draw the line. That's the only thing that I'll
Thank God you got
And
something.
there's me being the contrarian again because I actually like Twilight.
I actually like Twilight too. You and
Hey,
me,
Jesus.
son.
All right,
You and
you
me,
know what,
son.
Justin.
All right, Justin.
Wow. There
Justin, what
it
have
is.
you watched this
Throw
week?
up the achievement button.
Yeah, throw up the button.
I don't have it on this.
Mermaid.
I think we only agree 3 times a year, son.
Yeah. Keep it on.
That's
All right.
Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas because they all involve food.
Exactly.
There you go.
By the way, I
Wow.
just got a text message from Joe Diaz who said,
Uh-oh.
"You sick fuck, licking that lollipop live on air."
Hello, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe.
I'm not going to keep doing it. Okay, who's next?
Justin.
All right.
Justin, what have you watched this week?
Well, since we don't really cover it, I'm caught up on The Flash and Lois and
Superman
Clark
Lois.
and Batwoman this week, which is turning out to be surprisingly good all of a sudden.
Batwoman?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
surprisingly. It started out a little bit but they did a nice little plot twist where it's not so flashy. And yeah, and this episode of The Flash wasn't nearly as bad because it didn't have the Flash in it. But at the start and at the end of it. So it worked out. They went on vacation. Yeah. Anyways,
even superheroes need vacations.
other than the gaming, a little plug here. The Into the Wormhole documentary that Carlos Petraza is part of has launched this week. So be sure to check out the website. It's about toxic fandom related to the Action Nerd Project, which we mentioned frequently on the show. The website address is intothewormholedocumentary.com.
All right, thank you, Justin. Greg, what have you been watching this week?
Oh, you got to me.
I did. Son?
Yes.
You started,
Carlos.
son. Carlos, what have you been watching?
Okay, so I want to throw in a quick thing about Superman and Lois, which I am loving. I am loving this show. I think it's the best take on Superman I've ever seen, frankly. And I'm bummed we have to wait 2 weeks for the next episode because it's really,
Me too. It heated up really good this last one.
yeah. It's been really great.
It's
I
the
think,
best story ever.
yeah. Well, because it's an actual story. It doesn't make the same mistakes that the Flash did and even Green Arrow did, where it just became so formulaic.
It's not rehashing the same old Superman bullshit that we've seen a million times before.
Yeah, you really are invested in these characters, so I love that. So, but what I actually want to talk about is the Netflix series that I've been putting off for a couple of weeks, but finally decided to dive in, and that is Sweet Tooth, based on DC comic. And it's, I don't know how many of you have watched it yet, but it is great. It is heartwarming and, a really great story about, pandemic that produces these animal-human hybrids who are then, discriminated against and hunted down, and shows kind of an apocalyptic apocalyptic world that, actually doesn't feel that apocalyptic. Like they still have, electricity. But a lot of people have died, and you've got a bad guy who's trying to hunt down these hybrids because he believes that they're the key to curing this disease, which is still running rampant. So, but it's got this great dynamic between the little boy, who's nicknamed Sweet Tooth, who's a deer human hybrid, basically a cute, like 10-year-old with, antlers, and a former NFL player who's nicknamed the Big Man. And they make it a great team, and they pick up other supporters along the way. It's a great story. So I highly recommend
it. Feel like a Dwayne Johnson movie.
They probably tried to get him and afford him, so they got
Yeah, I think Dwayne Johnson probably would have overshadowed the story just by being Dwayne Johnson. This does not set its ambitions too high, and in doing that, it ends up exceeding any expectations. I think it's really great. Have any of you watched it? Had a chance to watch it yet?
We talked about it a bit last week, I think.
Yeah,
we talked about the ad they put out in the paper.
The ad was problematic, but the show is good.
And Carlos, actually, you know what? I'm going to watch it now just based on something you said, because that was my worry. I was like, I'm afraid they're going to overextend in some way. Like looking at it, like you always know that these products always get kind of ambitious. So if they stay relatively like kind of grounded, I'm in.
Their storytelling is sort of parallel stories that extend over all the episodes and end up converging towards the end of the first season, and they manage that really well. And what it does is it keeps it from falling into the typical Netflix, it takes 6 episodes before it really gets interesting thing. It's interesting from the get-go, raises a lot of questions, answers them eventually, which is great. Still opening to other questions, so you want to keep watching. And so they handle that, having all those balls in the air pretty well. I've been impressed with that. But it does have a cliffhanger ending, so just FYI. But a lot of great stuff happens.
I'll check it out this week, and I'll let you know how I feel about it.
Let me know what you think.
Just be warned, Raina. I end up getting addicted to a lot of shows because of him right down there, the Carlos guy, and that asshole Sean O'Halloran. They've got me addicted to multiple shows. So just be warned.
We're the worst
here.
If it would be great if Sean came back, because I'm tired of not wearing pants.
Ooh. All right. Well, thank you very much, Carlos. As for me, I've been catching up on Metalocalypse this week. Well, last weekend. It's such a fun show, although I do get a little whiplash as the characterizations of each of the band members seem to go back and forth between extremes and between episodes. In one episode, they're competent band members who know how to put together songs, and in the next, they're acting like neglected children. Yeah. It's hard to keep up with, but it's still a lot of fun. I'm about halfway through the 4th season, so I'm nearly caught up and I'm enjoying it. I also finished the 3rd book in the BattleTech Legends Grey Death Legion series. It was a really interesting story about a disgraced mercenary band that needs to clear their name after being set up and falsely accused for war crimes charges, where that they destroyed a bubble domed city in a hostile environment, and they had to clear their name. I think that about does it. I also finally finished Invincible.
What'd you think?
Yes.
Wow.
Told you so.
That final fight scene. Ooh.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Like every single episode of that show was just. Oof.
And it's inspired one of my favorite memes of this year.
The Whooper one.
Think, Mark. Think.
That entire last fight scene where his father is just using him to cause death and destruction on a gruesome and personal scale. Hundreds, if not thousands, dead. Travis, plug your ears. I know you.
No, I've seen the show. I actually want to talk a bit about this final fight as well, because the first time I had put it on, I was cleaning my fish tank and just kind of had it on as like background noise. I mean, like I was paying attention and I was invested, but like I had also tried to like introduce the show to my roommates, and they were just like, we watched the first episode, and they weren't exactly sold on it then, and the final fight was happening, and one of my roommates just came and sat right here, and he's just like entranced because like it's just getting more and more violent, and like my other roommate comes down and he's also entranced, and like there's a moment where they crash through into the subway.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that entire
Spoilers, by the way.
sequence, they were just like, whoa, God. And I'm just like, okay, guys, I need to turn this off because you guys just need to see this. And we actually did watch the entirety, and they very much enjoyed it, and we are very much looking forward to the second season. So
I especially
it broke
loved
me.
how all of the elements of the series kind of interconnected together. Those two seemingly throwaway twins from the first episode ended
I
up
love
playing
those
a
characters.
key part of the subplots throughout
Mhm.
the entire series. No element that was introduced in the in-between episodes was really wasted. They all carried over and built on each other.
Mhm.
And that's something I don't see often in superhero stories, where that usually focus on villain of the week, problem of the week, disaster of the week.
And you
kind of
know what?
things.
They actually did that with every character in the show. Like everyone had a purpose. Like it wasn't like a moment where they outlived their usefulness. That's what I loved about it. Man, that fight though, like I
Cool.
think that I had that Endgame moment or the Infinity War moment where it was kind of somber afterwards, or it was like I don't know how to really perceive things right now. I need to lie down.
That was that whole
Yeah,
damn
I was-
series because it was like one mind fuck after another at the end of every episode. It just left you going like, "What just happened?"
I was cringing so hard throughout the entire fight. It just, especially the train scene. Oof.
Yeah.
But
I
the
have-
payoff
About
at
it.
the end was brilliant. And the revelation, of course, of what Omni-Man's true purpose was, and the revelation of that was just horrifying, but not unexpected.
I have
but
expected his
wow.
wife to commit suicide at the end of the episode, honestly.
I don't know how they could top that with later seasons.
Well,
Having read the comic book, I can tell you that they do.
Okay.
I haven't read the comics, so no more.
Okay, that's all I'm
yeah.
saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna read the comic
Travis,
tonight.
did you ever watch The Boys?
No.
So
Watch The Boys.
I would like to make a point going back a little bit here, and this is my bias showing, but the best episode of Metalocalypse is the one where they put Toki in the little tank and let him sing to the fish.
That's a great episode.
See, musical episode.
But I will
The
say, I
whole
think my
series
favorite.
is based on music.
Yeah,
I think-
it's a
I think
death
the
metal.
best- I think the best episode of Metalocalypse is Rehab Clock.
Hmm.
I
That
honestly,
one is a great episode.
I like the one where they get sick. And they're
Am I
trying
the only
everything
one
to
who
make it
hasn't
better.
watched this show?
My
Yeah.
favorite one
I
is the
haven't
one with
seen
the
it.
troll.
This is a show you need to watch, Carlos.
Yes.
If you
But I
like,
also-
if you like Invincible, this is a show you need to watch because
Yeah.
it's from Brendan Small, the guy who did the home movies cartoons.
The
Hmm.
entire,
Except with 20 times the gore.
True.
then again, I actually just
Lots
really
of blood
loved
and
the third
gore.
season of that show. The premiere episode of the third season I thought was brilliant, especially after how they ended the second season. Like I had goosebumps the first time I saw that.
So back together, wrong. Back together.
No, Mermaider's better.
Okay, this actually looks interesting.
Mermaider. It's called Mermaider.
Guys, you don't
Like
have to go any
murder
further. Carlos is
mermaid.
interested.
Look,
Together.
Carlos is already on Google looking it up.
Yeah, I looked it up. It looks interesting. I can't believe it's been out since 2006. Holy crap!
Oh yeah,
And
it's,
How
it's
did I miss
getting
this
a
one?
movie.
it's
Wow.
like a lot of the show really has not aged that well. Like especially
Yeah.
in terms of like some of the humor that they do, but like the music is just
It's adult
Just
content
kidding.
for a reason, people.
Just the reminder that I'm the youngling of this group. I was in 8th grade when I first saw it when it premiered.
To be young.
Someone
Oh
was
my
up past
God!
their
Why would we let a
bedtime.
kid in here?
I was. I love that show.
It's a
It's
great
fantastic.
show. Like I have all 3 of them albums upstairs. Actually,
Hey,
all 4.
me
'cause
too.
I have the Doomstar Requiem as well. So all 4 of them
Okay,
albums.
now this
Second album is the best.
show that we are all talking about, in case someone's joining in. Beastmasters.
It's called
No.
Metalocalypse.
Metalocalypse.
All right.
Masters. Jeez.
That will now officially bring an
Does-
end to our
Are we
regular
sure?
show. Thank you guys for reminding me about what are we watching. I really look forward to it, and I can't believe I completely spaced on it.
Of course.
But starting an hour earlier definitely worked out well. It's 12:30 here. It's usually 2 hours past that by the time we're done. So we're doing great on time. Thank you guys for all of your thoughts and opinions throughout all the topics of the show. I love this every week. It's one of my highlights. So thank you.
It's our therapeutic escape from the realities of the world, and I'm glad to do it every week. Especially, it's a good release.
Yes.
It's almost as good as this Tootsie Pop.
You didn't
All right.
bring one
For the
away.
last time, like, subscribe, share, do all the social media stuff, comments, get the algorithms going, get us out there so more people can contribute to the conversation. We can have so many big discussions and arguments about all the things that we geek out about. We are the Super Geeks. Justin,
The
where
real
can people
Super Geeks.
Where can people find you?
I am on Twitch TV, the separate.
Raina, where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Rainwolf.
Travis and Lane.
Crying in my closet.
All right, I'm coming after you.
Greg.
Twitch.tv crazed Pokemon Go Raider.
Son.
Twitch.tv/Sunseal.
Carlos.
Twitter at Axe Monitor, and also the Axe Monitor Facebook group.
And if you're watching us on Twitch, you're already there, twitch.tv, live_love_play. Thank you all so much for joining us. This concludes the Real Super Geeks podcast. Stay tuned for a very special Florida Man, where we will pay tribute to the passing of the late, great, batshit crazy mad lad, John McAfee.
All right, and
remember,
Wait.
and remember, you are loved and appreciated by just your being you.
and
Play us
spay
out,
and neuter your
Justin.
plushies.
Fuck you.
Stop.
All right.
I like how Justin started with a rave as soon as the music kicked on.
Yeah, very effective. I like your lighting setup, Justin.
Thank you.
All right. Who's sticking around for Florida Man?
I am.
I
Florida Man. Stay, Travis. Stay. Come on, it's early.
I'm
Stay.
I'm
Stay. Stay.
All right, Travis. You take care of yourself
Stay,
tonight,
Travis
right?
Lane.
We
Take
love you,
care of
man.
yourself, Travis.
Take it
Be
easy,
safe,
everyone.
sweetie.
We'll
All right, I'm hopping off too, guys. I'm gonna get some rest.
Good night, Greg.
See
Love you.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
I'm out too, guys. You guys have
Good
a
night,
good
Raina.
No,
Love you
no,
too.
no.
And then there was 4 of the mightiest of the land.
So, thank you everyone for joining us for Florida Man. This week, we saw the passing of someone who may as well have been Florida Man. He was born in the UK, raised in Virginia, launched the very first antivirus software, one of the most annoying products ever to brace the market. Made his name in cryptocurrency, in drugs, in murder, traveled the world, traveled most of South America, citizen of the Caribbean, tax evader, and finally committed suicide in Spanish prison the eve of being extradited back to the U.S. John McAfee, what a wild life he had. Are you guys familiar with this absolute crazed gentleman?
Yes, I used to always uninstall the crap antivirus every time it would try to install itself onto my computer back in the day.
Okay. Wait a minute. Back up. Before you do that, you can't blame him for that. He
No,
literally
but
sold his ownership in that company before all of that shit started happening.
That's right.
yeah,
That's what gave him the money to do all those crazy things.
Yeah.
yes, but I still uninstalled the software because I hated the crap. There we go.
He sold his stake in McAfee Associates in 1994. So didn't have any further involvements in that software for a very long time.
But it did give him name recognition to be able to speak out on some of the weird topics that he spoke out about.
Like whale fucking.
For example.
I mean, that's not
fucking Florida man.
The sad thing is that's not as uncommon as you think it is.
Oh, I know it's not, but it was one of his golden tweets that never gets old. He actually had a whole series of tweets about it, mostly about whether or not it's consensual on the part of the whale.
So wait, whale fucking is how?
The rant was spurred because he said it's a hot topic in the Gulf of Mexico, in those islands, that in the Caribbean islands, that whether or not whale fucking is consensual. Now keep in mind, in his later years, he was something of a shit poster.
It's true.
Yeah, he sure was.
He loved to stir the pot on all sorts of dumbass topics, and this was definitely one of them.
I mean, look, even his death is mired in shit posting.
Yeah. A few hours after his passing, whoever was running his Instagram posted a giant capital letter Q.
He had a dead man switch.
Yeah, yeah.
He literally
shortly after the posting of the letter, the account was deleted.
Yeah, by Instagram. Not by the poster, but by Instagram itself. Instagram deleted that post. Which makes it even more mysterious of a controversy. So
now people are thinking that he was Q for QAnon.
Oh God, he so wasn't.
Shortly after his suicide too, the meme started going around that McAfee didn't uninstall himself.
That's funny.
My favorite is the line from Morrowind: with the death of this character, the prophecy has been severed. Reload a previous save to continue on, or continue in the doomed world you've created.
Abort, retry, or fail. Error 404.
But no, this is one of those weird things where both sides of Occam's razor are a conspiracy. Like, if he committed suicide, like legitimately committed suicide, then he had spent over a year telling people he would never commit suicide just to commit suicide.
He was Epstein.
No, he wasn't.
And if he was bumped off, why is it that all of these people wind up being bumped off in prison with like grossly incompetent guards? Like, that's a thing that keeps happening in these instances.
Yeah.
Like, even like, because in his like the police, because he was arrested by I think it was a Spanish police, and
he was arrested trying to board a plane to Malta,
and he was like the prison officials at the prison were like, we don't know what happened. Like, he's been under guard all this time. He's acted fine. There's nothing here that would have indicated that he was in any poor mental state whatsoever. And then he kills himself because he literally got a tattoo that was a $sign and said whacked, and he said, "I will not kill myself."
The guy has also had decades of all kinds of substance abuse. Yes. So who knows what his mental and health state actually was. And he had just gotten a judgment saying that he was about to be extradited to the U.S. to face tax evasion fraud charges, to which he admitted to.
But not the final judgment in that verdict. He still had appeals in Spain to go through because he had been talking to his wife about implementing those appeals. This was not the end of that road in the first at all. So he wasn't like at the end of his rope either, which makes this even more fucking curious.
Curious, but I don't see any. I don't see why the U.S. government would bump him off. It makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, John McAfee stopped being relevant a really long time ago.
His last big claim to relevance was trying to get the nomination for the Libertarian presidential candidacy.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying either way, Occam's razor is a conspiracy.
I mean, it would make sense if, let's see, where was he in between? He spent some time in South America. I can't remember exactly where. Oh yeah, he spent 2012 through 2015 in Belize.
Yeah,
where he lived like a drug lord in a manor.
Of course he did.
He had a small army of guards. He had a bunch of dogs. He had a bunch of women coming in and out of the place, some of which
basically he got to live the life that Mr. DeLorean never got to.
Yeah. He even did a parody video about it called "How to Uninstall McAfee." If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's
cringeworthy.
It's cringeworthy, absolutely. He understands the reputation that he has, and he doubles down on it.
Yeah.
In this video, it's crazy.
Now, here's the interesting thing: the tax evasion charge is because the U.S. government wanted tax money from him when he doesn't live in the United States.
Well, that's legal.
I know it's legal, but that's literally the tax evasion charge.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally, his whole thing was championing, why do I have to pay taxes in a country I do not live in?
Well, a lot of people actually are giving up their American citizenship specifically for that reason.
Yeah.
He fled Belize because he became a person of interest in the alleged murder of his neighbor, who had made many, many complaints about his activities. A man named Gregory Fall, who is another American expat who settled in Belize to retire and stretch out what money he has. He fled to Guatemala after that, where he invited a Vice News interview over, had a bunch of pictures taken, and was kind of accidentally outed for where he was because the Vice News staff forgot to, or it left the location information enabled on the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, he went to Canada and then back to the U.S., where he was arrested in Hendersonville, Tennessee for a DUI and possession of a firearm while intoxicated.
Well, he was way into guns.
Oh, yeah.
He was way into guns. He was like, he once did an interview in which he had a loaded gun in each hand.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the only thing that would make that more impressive is if he was so into guns, he literally owned a battleship. I wouldn't put it past. Honestly,
he could have. You know how much he sold the McAfee company for?
Let's see,
$7.6 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like worth twice that.
And that's 95 money. That's what, 3?
Actually, the sale was in wasn't in the 90s. It was in the early part of the 2000s.
That's when Intel finally bought it.
That's when Intel bought it, yeah.
But that wasn't what McAfee sold it for.
Oh, okay.
He sold it in 94.
He sold his stake in it in 94.
Okay.
Let's see. He was in and out of the U.S. until 2019, where he was officially on the run from U.S. authorities because of tax evasion, living internationally on a boat after a grand jury indicted him and his wife for tax evasion. But he thought it was a good idea to run for president as a libertarian in 2020.
I thought it was 2016.
It says 2020 primaries. 2016 for the 2020. I don't know. That's weird.
That is weird. He actually took part in the Libertarian Party presidential debates.
Yep.
In 2016.
He must have tried to run again.
Yeah,
he was arrested in Spain.
2 times. Yeah, 2 times. He
at the request of the Justice Department for tax evasion, indicted in June, alleging he earned millions of dollars from 2014 to 2018 in various pump and dump cryptocurrency schemes, which he was a big advocate for.
So he was the scam artist behind all of those crypto things.
One of the scam artists, yeah. He was a very influential and charismatic figure. One of the videos I listened to today talked about him and said, you know what, with a couple interesting steps or different steps, he could have been a cult leader.
What are you talking about? He is a cult leader, posthumously.
Did he really have that many people who followed him?
He had enough people to follow him.
Well, I mean, the entire U.S. government, you know.
Well, they didn't
just
the
follow
Justice Department and IRS. As in cult members.
He's got a bit of a cult following, but it's enough for a cult following. He was very active on Twitter, and apparently still had access to his Twitter account when he was in jail in Spain.
Yeah, he was as much as he was considered a high profile
getting stared down.
Good God, what is it? Prisoner. As much as he was a high profile prisoner, he was still granted a lot of freedom that a whole bunch of political prisoners don't even have. Like, I mean, crap. Julian Assange was in Ecuadorian house arrest, and even he didn't have the same access McAfee had in Spanish jail.
Well, he was under house arrest in the embassy.
Well, yeah,
but not a prison,
right? But even the embassy was like, we're limiting your access to the internet.
Well, it was Julian Assange.
Well, sure.
And the extradition was his extradition for charges in Tennessee. The pending extradition case, other pending extradition case, was for New York, and it was still pending in the lower Spanish court.
And like I said, his appeals on the first one weren't exhausted yet. So, he literally was still capable of fighting.
Unless he had lost the will to keep fighting.
Well, I mean, that is if you don't believe his wife.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm just going by what's out there. If you want to know more about John McAfee, Internet Today has done a series of videos about the guy. The two hosts are very entertaining. They do a lot of interesting takes on the news and some of the more volatile and memeable characters who show up. John McAfee, they describe John McAfee as one of the regular characters on their shows, both Weekly Weird News and Tech News Day. There's also a documentary that Showtime did on him called Gringo, The Dangerous Life of John McAfee, which I am going to look for and watch. And that's pretty much it. That's the wild and crazy life of John McAfee, a man who most certainly should have been a Florida
man. Indeed.
Justin.
Justin.
A Florida man.
There we go. Thank
John
you.
McAfee, honorary Florida man. Super Geeks certified Florida man.
Yes.
So I have an article this week.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Okay, so Florida squirrel. Wait, hold on. No, I'm sorry. Let me roll that back. Okay. Florida man pulled a gun at Starbucks.
Oh, I was gonna do that one
over lack of cream cheese. Now,
Florida man.
For those of you who are attentive, the reason I said Florida squirrel is because that's the gag of Foamy the Squirrel from Ill Will Press, is that it's a squirrel who loves bagels with cream cheese.
That's my cat's licking my arm.
So yeah, there's that. Now here, not only was he arrested for trying to steal cream cheese at gunpoint at the Starbucks, the person he held up to steal the cream cheese was the daughter of the fucking police chief.
Oops.
Dumbass Florida man. Wait. Dumbass Florida man.
And she was quoted as saying, "I've never seen anyone react that way to a lack of cheese."
You don't know many mice and rats, lady.
Okay.
Oh, God!
Okay, so here's one. Florida man arrested for attacking daughter with pizza after she didn't want to eat with him.
Yeah.
Didn't this happen before with another slice of pizza?
No, we literally covered an article like this about a week ago, I think. Maybe.
Oh yeah, that is an old story.
There's a follow-up to this with a different Florida man. Florida woman arrested for hitting boyfriend with a paper plate full of chicken.
Ooh, tasty.
So
Chicken Florida man.
So this story has bullet points.
Yeah.
The argument was about jealousy. See, she was upset that he works at Lowe's with a bunch of female coworkers. And so she gets a membership to a gym and specifically asks for a male personal trainer. And he's like, what's all that about? And she goes fucking ballistic, right? So they start arguing, and he goes, look, I'm done. This relationship's over. I'm not going to be part of this drama. And then she gets violent and whacks him with the fucking chicken. Then he calls the police. So yeah, that's wow.
Chicken Florida man.
Here's a good one. I'm gonna use my radio voice for this one. Florida woman named Booze arrested for drunk driving after crashing into a Taco Bell sign.
Yeah.
That's not just a radio voice. That is a 1940s radio voice.
A Florida woman named Kanisha Booze was arrested for drunk driving after she crashed into a Taco Bell sign in St. Petersburg and fled the scene. The 34-year-old was busted just moments after the incident, after her hasty getaway saw her speeding through red lights. She was taken to the local jail where she was charged with multiple crimes. Fact number 1, Booze works at the Taco Bell where the crash occurred. Fact number 2, it was immediately clear that Booze was drunk. Fact number 3, perhaps unsurprisingly, it wasn't Booze's first rush with the law. Fact number 4, Booze was charged and released after her latest incident.
Florida woman.
He posted $1,750 bond and was released early Saturday morning.
Wow.
Bonded Florida woman.
Okay, so I know we have over these many weeks, months even, we have reported on various Florida men who were part of the January 6th insurrection. Here's one in which a Florida man admitted he stormed the Capitol and then narked on his pastor, who apparently came with him, and now his pastor has been taken in by the FBI. Yay, Jesus. Yay, Jesus.
And they'll all get slap on the wrist misdemeanors.
Florida man, and now going to Florida hell.
So here's an extended headline. A Florida man, doctor, is fined $2,500, must pay court costs and undergo further education or hearings and or lectures on wrong site surgeries for, get this, removing the wrong testicle.
Ooh, is there a right testicle to remove?
Yes. In fact, it was the right testicle that was removed instead of the left.
Okay.
Yeah,
Florida man.
So yeah.
Likes the balls.
So yeah, the Tampa urologist was supposed to be removing the left testicle, but instead marked and removed the right testicle.
That's a lot of balls.
Yeah, so there's that.
Okay, so here's an interesting one. Florida man refuses to sell his tiny home, which has been surrounded by a huge commercial development, despite 60 offers up to $900,000 for the little house. And you got to see the picture on this. I'm gonna post the URL in the private chat for you, Justin, so you can. It's the second photo where you can see just this house is completely surrounded by a very tall development.
It's literally. See, I had it in my mind. I had it in my mind when you started talking about this, and then I look at the picture and I'm like, it literally is batteries not included.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, hold on. Come on. Go to it and go. Share screen. Oh, come on and load. Thank you.
I think the funny thing is the third photo because he kind of looks like that dude from Arrested Development.
Yeah, he kind of does. One more. There it is.
Wow.
No, go down one more. That's the one.
Yeah, that's
that poor guy.
Yeah, he refuses to sell.
He's being okay.
He looks like the guy from Arrested Development. He may not have as long a hair, but there you go.
All right.
Wow.
I have one more for the night, and then I need to head to bed.
Okie dokie.
I'm going to try my Cronkite for this one. Florida man attacks gay tourists, but they fight back, and he loses.
You have
Fact
to
one. A Florida man attacked a group of 3 gay men in Miami and was injured when a victim struck back in self-defense. The man has been arrested on charges of battery, and police are submitting the incident for review to a hate crime prosecutor. Hate crimes against LGBTQ+ Americans are on the rise after spiking last year. 3 gay men from Alabama were visiting Miami Beach when a Florida man approached them about their sexuality. "Are you gay?" I don't like gay people," the man said, according to the first victim, who spoke to a local news outlet.
What the fuck was this?
Saying that he feared for his life, he ended up spitting on me, and then that's when he threw a beer at me. Glenford Rule, 24, then allegedly hit the 18-year-old tourist who did not want to share his name in the back with a chair and threw a punch before the victim stabbed the attacker, who pulled out the implement and wielded it. The 3 friends, others 19 and 20 years old, took off and police arrived at the scene. Rule was arrested and taken to the hospital, now facing charges of 3 counts of battery, police said.
Well,
I'd like to ask.
Oh my!
And then
Who the hell was this? Ron Wyden? Jesus.
The lesson learned here, children: do not pick a fight with gay people.
That's right. We're vicious.
Or stop trying to hide your inner feelings.
Yeah. What was fight gay people and you will get Stonewall rioted on. That's Stonewall riots. Is that what I'm?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let me clarify the joke for you. Don't fight with gay people, or you will be stonewalled in the face.
Thank you. That's much better. All right, that's enough for me. I need to sleep.
All right. Thanks,
good night,
Ross.
guys.
all right.
Night, Ross.
Night, Ross.
I have one last one as well.
Okie dokie.
And we talked about, apparently there's a series called Florida Man that is in production, but there's now a second series that is going to be on Netflix called Florida Man.
Oh, God.
There's
And
also a comic, too.
yeah, I saw about the comic. This doesn't sound like a comedy, though.
Okay.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, there's more. Yeah, it's being produced by Jason Bateman, among others, which means it might be pretty good.
That gives it hope. That gives hope. It really does compared to the other one that's out. That gives it hope.
So there you go.
Hopefully
it's the good one.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Is that it for this week?
I think that's it for tonight.
Okay, so there's a quote by Tom Brady because Tom Brady is slowly learning how to be Florida man.
Yeah, that's an interesting transformation.
Yeah. I don't. Okay, so let me just say this quote, and I'm probably going to mispronounce stuff because this is a name I don't know. Says, "I've learned a lot in Tampa. You can be shirtless pretty much anywhere here. Not like ripped shirtless either, like doughy, chapped, leathery shirtless. Deep fried Bruce Arians.
Ew.
Whether at Walmart or at your nephew's baptism. You'd be amazed how many business deals are closed here while staring at another man's nipples." Tom Brady.
Okay.
That's all right.
That's spot on.
Slowly learning to be Florida man.
Yeah, check back in a year from now, folks. We'll see how well he's doing.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap us up for tonight. Thank everybody that has joined us for this last little segment. And
all right. Goodbye, Justin. But goodbye, Justin's cat. Bye, son.
Bye.
All right. And we're going to play it out.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Play it out. Keyboard cat.